WPEN Burlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
Good morning. Thought I'd help you wake up.
It's 6 a.m. and you're listening to The John Kincade Show, Philadelphia's longest-running sports talk morning show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Let the party begin!
The show starts now.
All right, welcome to Red October. It's here. We're around 14 hours to first pitch. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. As always, our 6 a.m. hour brought to you by our good friends at Bradford White Water Heaters. Bradford White is here for the pro. And that was the positive thought, Bob, that you always attach to you put your feet on the floor, come up with a positive thought. It's something I've stolen from you, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it makes the day start well, doesn't it, John?
And Pat, welcome to Red October. And Bob,
thank you for having me.
And Bob's Blue October. Look at Bob. He's got his Phillies gear. He's looking good,
There's a whole bunch of different stuff you can do. You can go red, blue, white, gray.
I mean, it's called Red October.
I got a red shirt underneath.
I'm not going to act like I didn't notice it when I walked in.
Yeah, I have a red shirt.
You're in your Eeyore phase right now with all the blue going on. Blue hat, blue bull pull. But you look good, though.
You do look good. And Bob always looks well put together. As a sports fan, I do not have any friend, any relative who coordinates their sports gear as well as Bob does. I mean, it's exceptional.
I put a lot of time.
I don't know if I can say he coordinated it today with, once again, it's Red October.
I have red on, Pat.
Not multicolor October.
I don't have any I don't have any Phillies red stuff.
Well, then you got to get down to Rally House and grab some.
Yeah, my wife doesn't let me spend money, so no, I'm out.
We are so excited that Red October's here, and it feels like we've talked about it since April. And I sort of think it draws a parallel between where the Phillies are tonight and where the Eagles are this season. Anything less than a Red October when you spend $245 million and you're the defending National League champs and you took the Astros to 6 games last year, anything less than that would have been a huge disappointment. So in one way, I want to compliment the Phillies in a big way because they had that weight on their shoulders all year long of anything less is unacceptable. You're not in the postseason, it's unacceptable. And I wonder if that's a little bit where the Eagles are right now, too, is that, okay, we played for the championship last year. Oh, wait a minute, we got to go climb that mountain again? The mountain that Nick Sirianni's always telling us about? We got to climb that mountain again? Well, they have to climb it. And the Phillies start climbing it tonight. And I just thought about it last night, Bob, is that maybe some of what we've seen from the Phillies this year parallels what we're seeing early on from the Eagles this year. Slow start, not playing their best, not really looking good, and then as the season rolls along, the Phillies have been one of the best teams over the last 3 months. Maybe that's where the Eagles will also end up. It all comes together. But they're 4-0, which is great.
Yeah, it's a good parallel. It really is. The Phillies baseball being so much different than what it is, they couldn't underperform and still be really successful, much like the Eagles are doing right now, right?
No.
So that just doesn't happen there. But I love what you're saying. Would we say the Phillies are probably playing their best baseball right now? Probably. Since June 3rd, they're playing 6-13 baseball.
6-13 it is.
I mean, that's really, really good. The bats are alive at the time that you wanted them to be. And if we go back to before the season started, that's where all our money thoughts were going. Everything was going towards, man, this lineup is going to rake. Well, it's time to rake, and it starts tonight at Citizens Bank Park.
And, Pat, I wonder, with the Phillies cresting, as Bob says, playing great ball in the last 3 months, I wonder if that then gives us a little bit of perspective on the football team to say, be a little more patient, a little more, because maybe it is just tough to say, crap, we got to do all that again just to have a chance to get back to where we were last year. Could be. It's a theory. It's a theory I'm working on.
Don't think the patience will probably be there. Not at least for me. But I'm impatient, so I understand what you're saying too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the problem is the opponents that the Birds have faced is why I'm just not impatient. If they'd faced a good opponent, it'd be one thing, but when you're facing Mac Jones and and the legend of Sam Howell, it's tough for me to not be a little impatient, but I understand what you're saying.
I got it. It's just as we're here tonight on the verge of Red October, there are so many things that you can feel good about, and there are things you can feel trepidation about. And you're not being, don't be negative. Don't be negative about it. No, don't. There are things you can be negative about. There's things you can question going into this. But I tried to do a positives, negatives list yesterday going into this series. Bob, the positives far outweigh the negatives. I mean, it's this team. This team's really is playing really good ball down the stretch. So hopefully that's going to pay off.
They are, and there's really nothing. It was a question I put out, I think, a couple weeks ago, and we skimmed through it real quick, but I started thinking of it yesterday also. There's nothing that this team hasn't had during the season that you absolutely need during the postseason. Like, if you're going into the postseason, you're like, man, they haven't had good bullpen all year long. Well, like I said, I went back and read stories at the All-Star break. The Phillies bullpen graded out by almost everyone as an A at that point. So they've had a really good bullpen. You had a stretch there of starting pitching over a month that had under a 3 ERA combined. They have had good starting pitching. They've had good home run hitting. They've had really good 1 through 4 hitting. They've had really good back end hitting. They've stolen bases at times. Now you just need it kind of to come together. Something has to carry you in these playoffs, whether it's the hitting, the pitching, or you combine the both, and, man, that seems to be a breeze there. So that's where the confidence, I think, comes from. There's nothing that you can say about this Phillies team, I don't think, and if you guys think I'm wrong, let me know, that you can go into this postseason and say, yeah, but, they haven't had that all season long.
Yesterday, Booney, Pat, posted the numbers that Game 1 starter for the Marlins, Jesus Luzardo, has done against the Phillies. Turner 0 for 8. Harper 1 for 9. Bohm 1 for 11. Real Muto 1 for 13. Castellanos 2 for 7. Schwarber 2 for 9. And all the mentions. All he did was just post the numbers. And all the mentions. Don't be negative. You're being negative. All he did was post the numbers that are the facts. This is a really, really tough matchup in Game 1 of this series.
It is. He's really, really good. Phillies are due.
They're due?
Yeah, with all those numbers, they're due.
Okay.
I like that.
I mean, I'm looking for something with Luzardo because he is really, really good.
I got a little anxiety when I saw that he was the Game 1 starter. I would have rather had Alcantara. I don't care about the Cy Young last year. He sucked this year. The Phillies have always hit him well. I would have rather had him. When I saw Luzardo pitching, I was like, that's not great. But I don't know. I keep going back to it, and I'm probably banking on it way, way, way too much. But I keep going back to the crowd. The crowd's having an effect on this game because the Marlins are used to playing in front of basically the amount of people that are in this building right now.
I would say that's fair. But I don't know that they're just going to melt. I can't assume, Bob, that professional athletes are going to melt just because the fans are loud. It seems to be the talking point. Oh, they don't know what they're walking into. I don't know whether they're going to melt. I can't decide whether that's going to be happening.
Melt is pretty strong, but effect? I mean, you're a human being.
Oh, yeah.
You have 48,000 people going all against you. You're human. Then again, athletes are different. As you said, John, you get a little momentum, and you're Luzardo and say you're pitching really well, and your team gets you 1-2-0 lead, and you feed off of that maybe. And then, it
builds upon itself.
Yeah, but there's one thing to remember about this guy. He's thrown almost 180 innings this year. He only threw barely over 100 once in his career, and that was last year. His last few outings, he's given up 5 innings, 6 runs. Had a good outing in 6 innings. 5 innings, 3 runs. He's given up 3 2/3 innings, 6 runs. There's been some outings lately. And you wonder, because we see it here in Philadelphia all the time about the innings count and all of that stuff. You wonder if his arm's getting a little bit tired. And now his last outing, he was really good. 7 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts. So I want to see a little bit of patience there when you're not hitting well against a guy. He's not that he's old, but he's 26. He doesn't really have the experience. He has no experience of postseason. So he is a very, very formidable pitcher.
What about Wheeler, Pat? I mean, obviously the Phillies got to feel strong about Wheeler being on the mound, but he's most certainly not been the consistent pitcher that he's been the last couple years. Been a little erratic.
No. I mean, this season especially not. He's added a whole earned run to his ERA, but hopefully he will be able to dial it in and give him 6+ and give him less than 3 runs.
That doesn't sound enthusiastic.
It doesn't. I mean, look, we all know it. The bats need to come alive. The bats can't go silent. Bob's point is correct. You can't let Luzardo go out there and all of a sudden take the crowd out of the game by just shutting them down. I watched it happen in the World Series last year when all of a sudden, your team, you look up, your team's getting no hit. It
crowd didn't mean anything. The Phillies got no hit. Crowd meant nothing.
But you need your bats to actually show up early, and because I can't rely on this rotation.
Hey, if you need to hire, you need Indeed, because Indeed's all-in-one hiring solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates, all from one place. Visit Indeed.com/credit. It's one of the things with the fans that, as Pat's bringing up there, that I can't just accept as, well, the fans. It's the fans. Yeah, they have a great home field advantage. It's awesome. But the Phillies also managed to get no hit on their own field with the World Series hanging in the balance.
Now, you're being negative.
No, but it's the truth. I mean, it is. You had the opportunity to put a stranglehold in the World Series. You got no hit on your home field, and the crowd didn't in any way intimidate, cause problems, do anything that night.
The crowd will be there for you to start, okay? If the Phillies get down or whatever, it's up to the Phillies to get themselves back into it. The crowd's not going to do it for you. Should the Phillies get a lead and need momentum, or get a lead and carry the crowd momentum-wise, yeah, that could happen. But ultimately, it comes down to what's going to happen. What's going to happen with Luzardo? Is he going to be an effective left-handed pitcher that the Phillies are flailing, swinging at low outside fastballs, whatever it may be, which we've seen sometimes this year? Can't have that. You asked me earlier today, who do you think is the player tonight to hit a little bit? I think it's your number 2 hitter tonight.
He went Trey Turner, Pat. He went Trey.
Oh, yeah, that's fun. I like that.
What about if out of the pen, just gut instinct tonight?
Out of the pen tonight, I'm going to say Hoffman's going to be in a position. Hoffman's going to be in a spot where you need him.
I'm going to say Kimbrel is in a spot where you need him. Pat?
I mean, I like Kimbrel because the spot you need him is closer.
Well, that's if they use him as a closer, because
I know.
Well, a lot of
Rob Thompson doesn't, decide on this.
I'll go Alvarado.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad pick either. So it's Red October, and that's the whole idea. We're so excited. We know you've been, and the really thing is, we can feel it because the listeners have been, honestly, we've been talking about this since the summer. We all blatantly assumed this team was going to be in. And was going to be in the playoffs. They were going to be, and the whole idea was make sure you get that number 1 wild card spot so you can be at home. Little troubling number for you. Last year was the first year under this format. This will be the second year. Last year, the wild card teams, the home team wasn't really a huge advantage last year. In fact, in the National League, both the home teams lost their series last year. So it's just you look at it and you go, okay, it's not that big a deal. Not one home team won a series in the National League last year. Jeez. Every single series was won by the road team until you got it to the end. So it's just it was a weird year. I think last year was last year was sort of the outlier. That thing sort of fell, it was an odd year. Not one home team won a playoff series in the National League. And that's just one of those things. And in the American League, home field advantage really didn't matter as much either. There was a lot of upsets there too, which is very, very strange. So we'll see what happens. But it's like you really want the crowd to be there, and you want the crowd to be there strong for a while. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you can set the tone. I mean, we saw it last year. Phillies went 8 innings of nothingness in St. Louis. You have a magical 9th inning, just magical. And I'm convinced that was a really an uplift of carrying you through the playoffs.
That was
where you
awesome.
you got that feeling of, oh, man, we're never out of a game. And then we saw it carry on through all the way to Game 6 of the World Series. Tonight's key in that way, in that you want to set a tone for yourself, for the fans, for the other team. You don't want the Marlins to get any confidence in here tonight. So probably incumbent upon the Phillies to take this one tonight.
Hey, Tim Kurkjian will join us in studio at 7:30. So Timmy is in the building. He'll be here this morning at 7:30 to join us and preview Red October. He'll be part of ESPN's coverage. And we have a special announcement today, too. CSB Media Arts Center in Cherry Hill is home to Connecticut School of Broadcasting's broadcast media program and more. Find out more at gocsb.com. Who graduated from that program? The birthday boy, Connor Thomas.
Yeah,
Connor's
I missed him today.
Connor's birthday. We miss you, Connor. Proud of you. You're doing good. And happy birthday. You're always so tough on. You give a lot of tough love to Connor. Pat, he gives a lot of tough love. I mean,
I don't know. I think the love that he gives is warranted.
So you think the tough part of it is warranted?
Yeah.
You think so?
I do love Connor. Like,
I know you do.
The other day I was driving home. I think I picked my son up or something, and he called me just to talk. I'm like, yo, dude, he's like, I just miss not seeing you, and so we talked for 15, 20 minutes. I think now Andrew's thing today over at PJ's in Maple Shade, Red October, I think Connor's going to pop over.
Stop on by? That's
I don't
great.
know. I should call him at like 7 o'clock just to bust his ass.
Yeah, we might just have to call him.
Yeah.
We might have to do that.
Yeah,
Coming
see what
up,
he's up to.
it is in Cooney's Corner. He wants to know if we need to see a here we go moment. What's a here we go moment? He'll explain for himself. Next. By the way, speak for yourself with Bob Cooney at 7:20 on what's going on at NovaCare. John Kincade Show here on 97.5 The Fanatic. I love my friends at Window Nation.
97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on The Fanatic, and it's a return to Red October that we've all been waiting for, probably since April, or maybe that first Thursday in late March when we were out at P.J. Wellahan's and watching the opener, the 5-0 lead that Aaron Nola gave away. We've been thinking about Red October since then.
If that game could have just ended after 5 innings, it would have been great.
Yes. Other than the shooting, Mrs. Lincoln, how'd you like the play?
Well, at least Texas ended up being a good team.
Yeah, they did. And they're in the playoffs, and they have to go through Tampa and the Orioles to try to get to the American League Championship Series. Good luck. That is a brutal, brutal road that they created. By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you that Tim Kurkjian is with us at 7:30 in studio. Always great to have baseball royalty with us, the Hall of Famer. And congratulations, too, to the entire crew. I should have said it this morning on our 700th show today. And I would tell you, in radio, if you can find a show that's faced more adversity in 700 shows, I'd like to buy them a beer. That is what I would say to you. So we appreciate all of you being a part of us for 700 shows, and we hope you're going to be with us for the next 700. So.
Come on over to PJ's and Maple Shade today during Andrew's show. We'll celebrate 700. We'll celebrate Red October.
That's great.
We'll do it all.
I like it that 700 and Red October
Pat,
sort
you
of
coming
collide.
over? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Pat,
they
you
do.
coming over to Jersey?
No.
Why are you not coming over?
Wow.
To Jersey? No, I don't.
I don't do
He's got this Jersey thing. It's crazy.
Well,
I
people
mean,
from the Best Show Ever are going to be
oh,
there.
yes, they will. And
Yeah,
Connor,
they
Connor
live in
hooked
Jersey.
up on his birthday.
I got to call him in a half an hour. Yeah.
He's from Jersey.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is. But he doesn't live in Jersey.
He doesn't, but the people in the Best Show Ever, they live in Jersey.
Yeah, they do. Well, Ricky doesn't.
Yeah.
Ricky's an adult. He's his own man. He can do what he wants.
He can go
So am
across
I.
the bridge. Hey, but in Cooney's Corner, Bob wants to know what you need to see tonight. And I'm anxious to hear what this is all about.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's Corner.
Pat will be the first one to tell you. I have some catchphrases of my own.
Okay.
You know, I see somebody that I like. They come walking into wherever we are, establishment. Here he is.
There he
or,
is.
you know, just some like nice things to get you going. I do find myself saying during a game, either in my head or out loud, all right, here we go. Could be an Eagles game. Offense might be sputtering, and you see a big run, or you see the offensive line open stuff up. Here you go.
Are you talking about it's one singular moment in any sporting event?
It's a moment where I think to myself, all right, now they're doing things the way they want to do. It could be in a basketball game where I'll watch a team run a play, not getting it. Okay, there it is. They got it now. They figured it out, and now they're going to have different things off of that. Just a there you go moment or here it is moment. What if you're watching the Phillies game tonight, and I don't know what level of confidence you guys have. I think mine and Pat's throughout the season has probably been a little bit higher than yours.
Yes, it has.
If you don't have that confidence level, or no matter where your confidence level is, what do you need to see tonight that you go, all right, good, here it is, there it is? Because I have mine.
Mine is an early 2-run lead.
That's not bad.
Because if it tells me that the bats get going, I would rather have it not be a single followed by a home run. I would rather see it be manufactured where you put together a nice inning and you get like 4 hits and you get 2 runs.
Ooh.
I would rather see that. I want to see stolen bases as part of that too. But a 2-0 lead with Wheeler, I think just gives him a lot more flexibility to relax, and I'll feel, okay, they were ready for the stage. They're ready to go.
I like yours, but mine's opposite of that. I really like yours. Pat?
Mine's the same thing as John's.
Just get a lead?
Get an early lead, and it's something that we talked about last segment. Early lead, it gets the crowd really, really into it. If you've got Luzardo up there, and let's say, 2 men are on, and 3-1 count, and the crowd's going nuts, and he grooves a fastball in there, and whoever's up at bat, smacks it for a double, and 2 runs come in. Like, that place is going to be jumping.
It'll be berserk.
I need to see the offense come alive, but I also need to see them, invigorate the crowd a little bit. I think that's so paramount that in the first 3 innings, they're the first one to score in this game.
Is that Paramount or Paramount Plus, Pat?
I do have Paramount Plus.
So do we. Is it Paramount Plus or I can know where I'm watching your takes.
Paramount Plus.
Oh,
Well,
there you go.
they haven't been great lately, so they've been bounced down to Paramount.
Minus.
Yeah, the free version.
Mine's dingers, baby.
So you want
I swear
dingers.
to God, mine is dingers. And it's not something that just comes off the top of my head. No, I think this team really gets into itself when they're hitting the long ball. I need to see that second home run tonight and then maybe a third. I need to see the long ball tonight. I hear you. You're right. Manufacturing runs is what I'm all about. I've told you that before. If there's a guy on second, I want to see a single. I don't need to see a home run. I want to see an inning keep going. But, man, with this team, I just think they crave the long ball. I think they get within themselves when they see the ball go out of the park. I just think this team is built like that. I think they know they're built for that. And when they see it, I think their offense goes off.
So you think the crowd reacts if it's a two-run homer that gives them the lead instead of like 4 hits? You think that two-run homer creates that, like, sort of lights the match?
I think for the team it does. Yeah. Now, look, you get runs anyway. You get runs anyway. I do think that the dingers turn this team on. You had 6 guys hit 20 or more home runs.
It's amazing.
This team can rake a little bit. Yeah, I think if I see a second home run tonight and it makes it like, I don't know, 4-1 or 5-2, something like that, I'm going to be like, here we go.
Let me ask you, though, because I want to bring it back to your original premise. Do you literally, like, when you're watching an Eagles game, you go, okay, now they got it figured out? Like, did you ever feel that way on Sunday? When you were watching the game Sunday, did you ever
really,
feel?
no.
Okay, so you see something and you go, okay, the light switch is on.
Yeah, if it's not working at some points, like when we were in Tampa and Swift was going well.
Right.
I was kind of like, okay, they're going to that. That's cool. They have that to put in their back pocket. Sometimes it could start right off the bat. Oh, there it is. They're doing this today. Yeah. When you don't feel it, that's when it's not good. But, yeah, I just want to see that second home run today. I love, and we all know it, I love when you see ball come off bat and we're all like, oh, as soon as it comes off the bat, you know that it's going. I want to see that a couple times today.
DJ checks in on Twitter here. He says 35 or more pitches for Luzardo through 2 innings. He wants to see his pitch count. That's what he wants to see. The Phillies being patient at the plate.
That's a great one.
Running up his pitch count so they can get to that Marlins bullpen, Pat, which, honestly, I don't know it has as many guns as the Phillies does.
Well, I also don't know. I mean, getting the bullpen normally in a 3-game series, which technically I guess this is, but, I'm not disagreeing with his point at all, but I don't think it's as crucial to get into the bullpen early as it would be next round or the round after that, especially. Just because you're going against this team hopefully only twice, but yeah, I mean I would obviously love to see a good pitcher out of the game early.
There you go. So a nice start tonight. So it's a think about Bob tonight. Be Bob.
I always do.
And then maybe tweet us when you think that moment happens, because I would love that. I would love to do a little social experiment. So if you're on our YouTube early, if you're one of the listeners early, I'd love to see you tweet us when you think you see that moment tonight. And we can see if it plays out that the game goes that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a late collapse. That's interesting, though. I like that. And that may be more optimistic, too. Because I tell you, I think people are overlooking the Marlins. I think the Marlins are going to make us sweat. I think these are going to be uncomfortable games. I do believe the Phillies are going to win, but I don't believe that it's going to be comfortable. I think the Marlins just, for whatever reason, they played the Phillies very well.
Yeah, and they know it.
And I don't think all of a sudden, it's October. Well, we're not going to realize that we've pretty much owned this franchise for 6 years. A team that spends 3 times as much as us, 4 times as much as us, and we've managed to own them. They're not worried coming into this building, so the fans, make them uncomfortable tonight if you would. That would really, really help. Tim Kurkjian joins us in studio to preview Red October coming up at 7:30 this morning, and we'll give you a chance to win $1,000. We had the winner yesterday. In the company-wide contest, we had the winner for the Fanatics, Kelly Green Cash. So hopefully let's make it 2 days in a row. So I got to ask this question. I went back and watched the 15-minute games because I do the NFL Plus, and I watched all 4 games yesterday after waking up from my 3-hour nap. And I noticed something, and I just started to chart it. Jalen Hurts, with opportunities to run, and space in front of him, sliding. And just checking out how many times over the first 4 games, when Jalen Hurts moves with the football, has an opportunity to run, and decides, I'm going to slide. And I've got to tell you, I counted 6 different times where I went, okay, he slid totally prematurely. He slid just going, I think he is being told not to run. And I don't know if it's fear of injury or could it be he's not healing well from previous injury? And maybe he's still a little sore. Maybe he's still not all there yet. And to me, if Hurts isn't running with decisiveness, to me, I think it takes away one of the things that makes him great. And I don't think we've got an MVP caliber quarterback unless the running comes back into the repertoire. And I'm not seeing it. And if you go watch the shortened games, you see it all. Like here, all of a sudden, he's got an opportunity to maybe go 2 more yards. He just slides early. He's avoiding every single hit. And I don't know, Pat, if that's a bad thing, good thing. But to me, it is absolutely a thing if you watch the Eagles games. He is sliding early.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a natural progression thing for a quarterback like him to realize there's a long game here. I don't think it's a directive from the coaches. I think it's his internal directive of like, I can't be taking these hits. Let's think smart about this. Let's preserve the body a little bit so that I'm not so banged up going into the later months.
Right.
Yeah, and look, against these teams, you can do it. You can get away with it. Why are we fighting for 2-3 yards? You don't have to. And he chooses to fight for those 2 or 3 yards when he needs to. On third down, you'll see him actively try to, bowl guys over. But first, second down, I don't need to see that.
It's a lot different, though, Bob, than what we've seen his first few years as the Eagles starter. And I think if you take that hammer out of the toolkit, it's not the same. He's not as big a threat.
2 things. One, we're going to get deeper into this and speak for yourself.
Oh, I love that.
Because Nick Sirianni absolutely did talk about this yesterday.
That's 720, by the way.
And the other thing is, I don't need him to run. I don't. Like, the scramble, I think there's about 7.5 minutes ago, he scrambled for 24 yards when that's great. When he has to use his legs, great. You have a running game that is unbelievably good. You have an offensive line that is unbelievably good. I don't need him RPOing all that much anymore. I don't. I've seen that he can throw the ball. It's not going to all of a sudden defenses are going to totally switch up, and if they do, he'll take what they give him. But they're spying him now. You saw it on Saturday. There was a clear spy on him pretty much all day long. Teams aren't just going to allow him to go back 3 steps and then take off and run for 20 yards. It's not going to happen. The way I want to see Jalen Hurts run the football is like he did with 7.5 minutes ago. He went back to pass. The rush came from the outside. He went right up the middle, put a fake on, I think it was Young or whoever it was, went to the outside, picked you up 24 yards. That's fine every once in a while. I don't need him 8 times a game to be a running quarterback. I don't need it anymore.
I just need it when he does scramble. I think, to me, the threat of the run was something that made him an MVP last year. And I don't want him running as often as he ran last year, but I want some quarterback-designed runs to be more a part of the offense. And there were some great design runs that made up huge gains last year in big games that I think just kept the defense off kilter. To me, if you're saying to me Jalen Hurts is going to be a pocket quarterback for the rest of his career, I think Jalen Hurts is going to be a very good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be in discussions.
Well, there's something in between.
I don't think he's going to be for MVPs.
Yeah, I mean, there's something in between a running quarterback and a pocket quarterback. But I don't need design runs 8 times a game. I just don't for this guy.
Well, what if it's 5? You still don't? If I made it a smaller number.
If the defense is giving that to you, okay. But what we saw, design runs, you had a spy on you, you're not getting more than 3 yards. If you're one-on-one with a linebacker, and you have to figure out, okay, can I juke him? Do I try to bowl him over, or do I run out of bounds? Why are we putting that so much on the quarterback? Like, pick and choose your spots. He always has the ability to run. Pick and choose your spots. I understand the scariness of defending a guy that has legs like that, and I'm not taking it totally away. But to say like, oh, man, we need him to run 8 times a game, and it's just not happening. I'd rather have this guy as the quarterback 10 years down the road than him getting hit 12 times a game.
Well, he's absolutely sliding, and, Pat, it reminds me of another quarterback that I used to watch that slid very awkwardly, Eli Manning. Eli Manning would scramble sometimes and get 2 yards, 3 yards, and he awkwardly would, like, fall all over himself, or he'd slide forward which was stupid because he could get hit that way if you slide forward. He reminds me of that where he's just going to take a couple yards and then get up. It just is. I think last year he was dynamic, and if you take the runs out of the offensive playbook, to me it takes away some of the dynamic nature of what he brings to the table.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I do think that the design runs this season have been down.
Few and far between.
But I also think like when they've been called, they've been horrible, which probably leads to them being down even more the next week. It's because Brian Johnson might be looking at it like this isn't working. Well, you're picking bad spots to do it in. But it's also incumbent on him to check out at times and decide to do it. I think it's a personal decision on his part to protect himself and protect his body. But, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the long, 15, 20-yard runs. In fact, the opponents have had better runs from the quarterbacks than the Eagles have. But I haven't looked at Jalen Hurts this season as, like, one of the reasons for my anxiety.
No, no. I have not either. The play calling has been.
But is the Jalen Hurts you see now good enough to beat some of the elite teams on their schedule? And is the Jalen Hurts that's only going to run for 2 or 3 yards and then slide down and maybe not fight for the extra yard, is that good enough to beat him? I mean, I do think there's something to be said what Bob would talked about, the spies and linebackers on him. And the NFL is actively trying to figure this guy out and putting linebackers on him. It seems like anytime he does try to break containment, there is somebody right there waiting for him.
I mean, it's the to me, Bob, that's do you beat San Francisco, Buffalo, even Dallas without that? With just Jalen Hurts being in the pocket. I think he's a really good.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying to just stand in the pocket all the time, but I don't mind cutting down on the designed runs. And when you do have them, all right, if you're going one-on-one with a linebacker because they're spying you, like I said, you ever been hit by a 250 guy coming at you? It probably doesn't feel good. So, maybe he's making a good business decision there. I don't want to take away his craftiness and all that stuff, but I can certainly limit it and pick your spots here and there and make it, even better that way.
Well, 4 games in, he has not looked dynamic. Bottom line, he hasn't looked. Last year, he was dynamic. He was an MVP candidate. He hasn't looked that yet. Now, that can come around. And I can't just put it all on Brian Johnson. Even though a lot of it I would like to put it on Brian Johnson. He looks different, and hopefully that's something that's going to shape up a little bit. Hey, when you open the BetParks app, you're in the zone. It's all your favorite casino games right at your fingertips. Plus, new users, you can get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun. You love to win. You BetParks. You got to be 21 in Pennsylvania or Jersey. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We've got a lot coming with Red October. It is right around the corner. Tonight's the first game. We're looking forward to it very, very much. And Pat, strange for me, his wife's a teacher. I don't know why he wants to give out grades. We'll find out next. John Kincade Show on 97.5. The Fanatic. I love Landis Block.
Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Buck and Kincade. I haven't done that. Have I done that once, Pat, or twice? Did I do it in the very beginning?
It's more than once. It's less than 5.
Less than 5. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Only did 4,637 of those. So every once in a while,
who's counting?
You'll stumble on up. Me, Rain Man, counts. You should have known that, Pat.
Valenzuela pitches today. It's Wednesday.
Hey, we appreciate you being with us. It is Red October with your Phillies, and we're so excited to get you pumped for the game tonight and the game tomorrow night, and the Phillies being the top, the top view, the top choice of network television. We'll have Tim Kurkjian joining us at 7:30 coming up in studio. So Tim will be here as he will be part of the coverage of this series coming up. I love that the Phillies are the showcase. I absolutely love that they are the team that everybody in the country wants to see. They've created. We always talk about, nobody likes us. I think the Phillies are liked. I think the Phillies are liked. I don't think they are a hated team. I think other teams, people like watching a lineup that can bomb and hit bombs. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, and you have enough I don't know. Do you think Bryce Harper is liked throughout the country?
No, I think he is respected, not liked. Respected, not liked.
Yeah, Trey Turner. I remember when Trey Turner came up with the Nationals. I liked that guy right off the bat. I liked watching him play. I loved his approach, all of that stuff. I don't know. To me, the Phillies kind of are that under the carpet. Yeah, that's right. They made the World Series last year. We know how much money they spent for the roster and all, but I don't know. National names. Like, is Castellanos a national name?
I think Schwarber's liked. He
should be, but nationally, I don't know if anybody really knows him. Like, I remembered Schwarber from watching him play and stuff. I didn't know his personality at all. I don't know. I don't feel like this is a national team. Like Howard, Utley, Rollins, that was a national team. Hamels, people around the country knew of those guys. Obviously, after Harper, I kind of wonder. I don't know.
No, I think people know Schwarber for sure. I think Turner is known. Trey, JT is known. But
you think?
But JT's so anonymous.
He is, but
he's anonymous here.
I think it's more like how many people know who Stott is.
Right.
How many people know who Brandon Marsh?
Boom, Rojas. Yeah.
Like those guys.
They got to get to know them, right?
That's probably. Yeah.
Phillies were a top 4 team on national television this year, as far as people watching. And I think that's one of the reasons why ESPN said this is the series that has to be on. That this is, you're looking at the other ones, it really doesn't. I don't think there's any series that jumps out of these wild card series that you're like, oh, yeah, that would be better than having the Phillies on national TV. So you get your moment in the spotlight tonight, Philadelphia, make it count. In Pat's point of view, Pat wants to get out the grade book. Man, that always made me nervous.
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
Hi, guys.
That always made me nervous, Pat, the grade book.
Bud, you and me both. Report card day was not kind to me. All right, so let's take a look at, now that the season is over, I want you to take a look at some numbers and just grade them. Try to keep your preseason thoughts out of it.
Okay.
Try to keep actually the whole season
Mind
as
wipe.
a whole. Yeah, just I want you to look at position, and I want you to look at numbers, and that's it. All right. So out of the catcher position, the Phillies got 20 home runs, 63 RBIs, 16 stolen bases. Their catcher hit .252, had a .310 OBP.
No, not good enough.
Okay.
I'm going.
We're giving grades, right?
That's like a C. To me.
I was going to go B-. We have to include the defense in there also, I think.
Okay.
I'll go C.
I would go C+.
Okay.
But that's obviously it's JT Realmuto.
You're adding the defense to make it a C+.
Yes.
Okay.
But I agree with you on the C front. I kind of expected more in terms of average.
Right.
252 isn't good enough. 310 OBP
On base
is certainly
isn't-
not good enough.
no,
Yeah,
not
that's
good
not good. First base, Bryce Harper. We'll go to him since he's now your incumbent first baseman. You have got 293 average, 21 home runs, 72 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, 401 OBP, and this is in 126 games.
Love it, love it, love it. I'm going to go A-.
I go A.
I will also go A. He really came on like late in the season, and I think that has my hope as high as it could be because I didn't think the power was going to be there, and the fact that this guy hit 21 home runs coming off Tommy John surgery and came back when he did, yeah, absolutely. All right, second base, Bryson Stott. Stotty Too Hottie hit 280, hit 15 home runs, 62 RBIs. He had 31 stolen bases and had a 329
31?
OBP. 31 steals.
I did
three caught stealing. That's it.
A-.
Solid A.
I'm gonna go B plus.
Okay.
His average dipped a little bit towards the end of the season.
It looked like he got a little tired, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, 31 stolen bases at second base, and I thought his defense was really, really good too.
Was it the national people that were talking about he needs to be in conversation of Gold Glove?
No, it was national people. Try sitting next to you on Thursdays, but it's Ricky Patalico.
Yeah, he's always
But
in
maybe,
it.
maybe it was national too. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a national.
I remember Ricky saying the same thing. All right, Trey Turner, 266 average, 26 home runs, 76 RBIs, 30 steals, no caught stealing, 320 OBP.
Got to factor in the defense too. I think 22 errors.
B-.
Yeah, I can't believe this B-. I can't believe he climbed to a B-.
Yeah, it's a B-, and he dug himself out of a big hole. He aced the last few tests, Pat.
I agree with you.
To salvage the semester, but still ends up with a disappointing B-.
I go with B-, but you're right. He was the first half of the semester had a 60.
Right.
Next half of the semester had like an 85, and rebounded. All right, third base. Looking at a 274 average, 20 home runs, 97 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 327 OBP.
And you got to include
and his defense.
You do. You
B+.
do.
B+.
Oh my God, I give him an A-. Yeah.
I'm going to give him a B+. I agree with John. Can't quite give him I would give him an A- if he had 25 home runs, but the fact he had 97 RBIs is pretty impressive.
That was so awesome.
All right, left field. We've got 197 batting average, 47 home runs, 104 RBIs. He had 0 stolen bases, but he's very fast for his size, and 343 on base percentage.
Did you say for his size?
Yeah, it's the weirdest season of all time.
That really is weird.
He might be your MVP.
He's an A. He's a solid A. I give him the A.
Wow.
Because no errors. I mean,
he didn't have any errors this year?
No.
Schwarber?
Oh, no. Schwarber, I'm thinking, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Castellanos didn't. Yeah.
No, but I give him the A. He gets an A.
I'll give him a B+.
I think he's there.
He's so weird, man.
He might be their
weird, isn't it,
MVP,
Pat?
though, Bob.
I go from A+ to B+.
What'd you say?
It's like,
really?
Yeah, one side of the coin you go, oh my God, 47 home runs, 104 RBIs, 343 OB. That's the A+. And then you look at defense and batting average with the new rules, and
Well,
you
his
go,
defense is terrible.
I'll go with an A. I'll meet in the middle and say A. Center field, this is Brandon Marsh, 277 batting average, 12 home runs, 60 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 372 on base percentages.
B+.
I won't go plus, but I'll go B.
I will
B,
also
B-.
go B.
Yeah.
Remember last year when he arrived here?
He was a
he
mess.
at 208?
Yeah, he was a mess.
I mean, he was terrible.
372 on base percent. I didn't realize
That's
it was
fantastic.
that high. Yeah, that's pretty damn
His
good.
eye got better this year. His defense, though, I think actually slid a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm glad to see him in left. Love you, Brandon.
Let's move on to right field. 272 on base percentage, 29 home runs, 106 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, and he had a 311 on base percentage.
I'll give him the A+.
He also led the team in doubles with 37.
I might give him the A+.
How many homers did he have? 29?
29.
Yeah, I got to give him an A+ probably, yeah.
I do too, and it's something that, Bob, you talk about a lot. We got to factor in the defense.
Yeah.
His defense is
too.
spectacular. No errors.
Yeah, the one hesitation, not hesitation, but I had to guard against Comparing it to last year. Just going on this year alone, yeah. But still, A+. Yeah, Cassidy's been great.
That is I maybe changed mine to an A because Bob just said there, though, you have to take out the comparison. I was comparing it to a little bit to last year.
Yeah, you got
it. Which wasn't your rules, Pat. I was supposed to do the mind wipe.
Yeah, but still,
he was awesome. I think he was the player that they've just unbelievable. I'm so proud of him.
I think if you just factor in position and you factor in around the league and you look at, hey, your right fielder hit 29 home runs, had 106 RBIs, hit 272, and had 37 doubles, you're very happy with that performance. But this is the reason I did this exercise. There was one guy in the entire roster that we looked at and said, yeah, he's less than a B, and that was JT Realmuto. And everybody else, it was B or up.
Just save this for the offseason, Pat, but
gives you an idea about guys reverting back to their baseball card, which is something that we talked about. And our guest coming up in a half hour talked about it too when he was last in here.
Yeah.
I think it may get him traded this winter.
Who?
Castellanos?
Yep.
I don't.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
it might.
go either.
I don't.
They have to free up some space.
You do, but I don't.
So wait, can we expand the report card a little bit? Go ahead, Pat. I'm sorry.
They are freeing up space because Nolan won't be on the team.
No, I'm talking about you're going to need space for outfielders. You're going to need space for first basemen. You're going to need and if any of this talk of Rhys Hoskins coming back, I don't think he can be here.
Well, if Rhys
can't be here.
If Rhys kicks rocks, your lineup will be Kyle Schwarber at DH and then Marsh, Castellanos, Rojas in the outfield, and then Bryce Harper at first base.
Yes.
Yeah, and you can have Crawford coming off the bench if he's ready, all that stuff.
I don't think he'll be up next year. But
all right, can I expand your report card a little bit?
I would love it if
because
you did.
I think this is interesting. Rob Thompson. I'll start with Pat.
I will go with a B. Just a B.
B minus.
Yeah, I think I'm at a B minus also. Starting pitching.
C plus.
C.
Yeah, I think I'd see.
You're a tough grader, Pat, man.
I mean, but everybody got worse.
I get it. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Everybody got
Bullpen.
worse. B.
Jeez, that was tough.
It's C or A, right? It's like it's almost like
C
it
plus.
balances out. I go
C
B.
plus.
Yeah, I'll probably go. Yeah, B minus, C plus sounds
It's weird.
good. Yeah,
It's really weird.
And the bullpen's tough, and so is starting pitcher, just because you have so many guys. But like, the bullpen has been, and you talked about this in the 6 a.m. hour, Bob. It's at some points this year they've been lights out.
Yep.
And then at other points it's been like, what the hell am I watching?
I was talking. Who was it? I forget who I was talking to. Might have been Ricky.
Glenn.
No, it was somebody baseball wise. But they were talking about Sir Anthony this weekend, and they said, maybe it was Ricky. Sometimes it only takes out one pitch, and you go, oh, there it is.
There it comes. Or
Alvarado,
your slot, right?
Alvarado was there at one point this year where he wasn't finding his groove on his cutter, and all of a sudden he found it. He found where he was placing his hands was a little bit off. Like, sometimes it comes around that quickly, and maybe it will for a Sir Anthony and other guys in the bullpen right now.
Our 7 o'clock hour is brought to you by the BetParx app. It is awesome in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Ohio, and Maryland. They're really they're going to try to take over the whole Big Ten. They're absolutely awesome. You will love the BetParx app. New users bet $10, win $10 on that bet. You're going to get $125 in sportsbook bonus back, which is absolutely awesome. As we begin the 7 o'clock hour, there is something. I'm just looking at some numbers here. And Matt Stafford, who you're going to face this weekend, who, by the way, has a hip pointer and is not necessarily absolutely set to go this weekend, but Sean McVay thinks he will be ready to go. His 62% completion rate is his worst in a while. He's got 3 passing touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So Stafford is not the Stafford of old. But before we celebrate anything, he's absolutely better than Sam Howell. And the Eagles are 5th in points scored, but an embarrassing 16th in points allowed. This road trip I think may be exactly what they need, though, because this is a Rams team. You are not facing a prolific offense. And what you've done, though, is you've given Mac Jones his best game. You've given Baker Mayfield his best game. You've given Howell his best game. I'm not going to count Kirk Cousins as a veteran. And Kirk Cousins pretty much gives you, as Pat said yesterday, I wrote it down at one point. Pat goes, Kirk Cousins does what Kirk Cousins does. But he did the same thing as he left with a loser. But you've given Mac Jones Baker Mayfield, and Sam Howell, you've made them look good. You've given them their best games. And Mac Jones is about to be replaced in New England because he sucks. Sam Howell was terrible leading up to this, and you made him look good. And Baker Mayfield. I worry a little bit about Matthew Stafford because Matthew Stafford is better than any one of these guys. And if the Eagles are making these quarterbacks look good, I worry about what they're going to make Stafford look like.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp might be coming back this week. So you got to keep an eye on that. Tyler Higbee's a good tight end. That'll pick you up stuff where the Eagles are kind of weak. Their running game, not too threatening right now. Although the Kid Williams, they gave him the ball a lot last week, if I remember, like 25 times, I think.
They have like the best story in football with Puka Nuka. Nuka, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Puka Nuka.
Yeah, that kid is like, it's amazing. They lose Cooper Kupp. They replace him with this Puka kid. And Puka
went for like 165 last week or
like
something.
He's setting records with the amount of like balls he's caught and yards and whatnot. So it's like they didn't even miss a beat. And now if you team him with Cooper Kupp, a healthy Cooper Kupp, that's kind of a scary wide receiving core.
I wonder if he'll be there, though, Cooper. I wonder if he's going to be there on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll know later on as the week goes on. But, you talk about the Eagles not really facing tough opponents yet. The Rams are kind of the other way. Although the Bengals aren't playing well, they played the Bengals. They played the 49ers. The Seahawks, who were always a tough. You can say
Seahawks
what
looked
you
great
want.
last night, didn't they?
Yeah, well, the Giants blow. They went to the
Good
Colts
analysis,
and won
Bob. That's very good.
They went to the Colts and won a tough game in overtime. Like, they've been tested. This is total opposites when you go Rams, Eagles, as far as teams that you face so far. So that'll be interesting to see. I'd rather be a tested team going into week 5. But, it's the old, is this the week the Eagles look like the Eagles that you expected? So.
I think you made 3 quarterbacks, though, look. Sam Howell, who looked terrible. Mac Jones, who's being replaced. Like, look what Dallas did to Mac Jones. I mean, they just embarrassed him. And the Eagles let him pick him apart. It just is one of those things that's nagging to me about what are the Eagles doing? What are they doing defensively? Why is this happening? And more importantly, how do they fix it? And is Sean Desai the guy to fix it? And again, I think it's way too early to judge. Thumbs up, thumbs down. These coordinators suck or whatever like that. But I've got serious questions. I have serious questions on both sides of the ball. And going into last week, I trusted Desai more than Johnson. As far as I thought I had more answers on him. And then Sunday's performance was just, to me, absolutely atrocious. And it's worse. Watch the 15-minute game, and it's worse. Because you're just seeing the completions. You're just seeing the positive plays. And you're watching Sam Howell pick that defense apart. That was Eric Bieniemy going up and saying, I got embarrassed last week. Well, I'm going to embarrass somebody else this week.
Yeah, you have Josh Jobe out there, and boom, they go after him right away. You saw it over and over and over again, and that's a great offensive coordinator in Eric Bieniemy. It's something that we don't see often here in Philadelphia, I feel, but maybe it's because your receivers right now are so good that when there's an injury to a defensive guy that they don't try to exploit it all that much. But, again, this offense, the Eagles, is so good that maybe you don't have to go that route. You just run your normal things. But, yeah, Josh Jobe, the safeties, all that, it's a concern.
It's just shaky.
A real concern.
It's shaky right now.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but 22.5 points a game, 16th. Being the Eagles' defense should never be 16th in points allowed, period. And
you got a lot of question marks there, like we talked about at the beginning of the year. Your linebackers, Morrow and Cunningham, people saw they had a great game last week. They made plays. Morrow made plays. He made sacks. I love that.
Yes.
But watch how much they got blown up, too. There's plenty of them also. It's still a guy that you signed in August and a guy that you cut in August are your 2 starting linebackers.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Now you have a guy out on your one of your corners is out. So now you're moving. You're shifting Bradbury to the slot. You're putting Jobe on the outside. So now you're changing 2 spots for the sake of 1, which isn't easy. Your still safety position is still a question mark as much as Blankenship. We're going to do the Ed Reed stuff and all that, but it's still Reed Blankenship in his second year.
Pat, one of the things I'm looking at is if you just don't, I wrote about it on the Fanatic website for today, if you take care of business against the Rams and the Jets, 2 teams that you should beat on the road, but you got, 2 teams coming up, you end the year, 2 of your last 3 games against the Giants, and you've got a Cardinals home game on New Year's Eve in the middle of that. you got a chance at the end to go, okay, we know we can take care of business for 3 more wins at the end of the season. So we just got to keep piling them up now.
I hope it doesn't even matter. Yeah, I hope
that would be nice too, right?
I hope those games do not matter, and that's Marcus Mariota versus whoever the Giants are throwing out there at quarterback. I don't know if Daniel Jones will be it.
With the 49ers, I just don't see the 49ers falling that far behind.
I don't either, but you never know. They have a really, really good game this week against Dallas.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, that's going to be like appointment viewing for me. So
I asked Bob this morning, who do you gut instinct this morning want to win that game?
Oh, the 49ers.
So do I.
Yeah.
Now, Bob, you were wondering, too, wouldn't it be good maybe to see the 49ers take a loss?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind them getting a loss. And then if Dallas has to stay out in California, I wouldn't mind them losing the next week
they
to
play
the Chargers.
The Chargers, yeah.
I just want – I don't want teams rolling like the Niners need a loss now. If you're an Eagles fan, the Niners need a loss.
Hey, where's the pregame show this week? I heard this is big news. Cooney, Egan, and Salchunas bringing you the Fanatics Birds pregame show. They're taking it to vinyl at 215 South 15th Street in Philadelphia. The newest destination for live music and entertainment. Vinyl has an amazing Sunday brunch, food and drink specials, and a 140-inch TV for the game. That sounds good.
Yeah,
1 to 4, right?
Yeah, brunch special. I believe the place hasn't been open all that long, so we're going to be out there on Sunday for the pregame. We'll be there early. We start at 1. But, we'll be there a little early, so come on out, maybe get a little bite to eat, get yourself going before a 4 o'clock game. Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Great. We're looking forward to that. Tim Kurkjian joins us at 7:30. Bob Cooney comes up next to tell us, what did Nick Sirianni say? But really, what did he mean? Speak for yourself comes your way next. Stick around, won't you? John Kincade Show, our 700th edition of the John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. I know you.
Philadelphia.
Tim Kurkjian coming up in just a few moments here on The Fanatic. You know, a girl in Kenya dreams of becoming a doctor, and an elder in Guatemala dreams of being part of a community. Why don't you reach out and change their world? It'll change your own. Support unbound.org. We want to be ready for Tim when he comes in for Red October, but I want to find out, what did Nick Sirianni say, and more importantly, what did he mean? That's why we always lean on Bob for Speak for Yourself.
And now it's time for Bob Cooney's Speak for Yourself. Here's Bob.
Nick Sirianni on the dais yesterday, that's right. I have to see what he had to say about that Eagles. Close, but a win nonetheless. And the first thing that he talked about was that tight end guy, Dallas Goedert. Where has he been exactly?
I still think it's a small sample size. And there's always a combination of different things. Something may break down in a play when Dallas is supposed to get the ball. I mean, there are just so many different variations of what can happen. So he'll get going. I'm certain of that. But we got to do our job as coaches to get him going. But he is still a very big factor in the way our offense is playing right now because of who he is as a blocker and also who he is as a receiver and drawing that attention.
Yeah, I might be going out on a little bit of a limb here.
Target game?
I'm going to say what Nick Sirianni. I'm going to decipher what Nick Sirianni just said. Yeah, we keep forgetting about him. I do. I swear to God, I think it's more of that. They're not calling his number. I think it's they get out of the game and they sit back and they put their feet up and go get pizza at Nick's house or whatever they do, and they go, man, we didn't dial Dallas up enough again today. Or he might be the secondary or third option on this play, and we think that's enough, but it's not. We're just forgetting about him. And understandable when the running game is what it is, when you have Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, when you have the two wide receivers that you have. But I don't think it's what other teams are doing, or like he says, the small sample size. Nah, I think they're forgetting to dial old Dallas up a little bit, and
that's embarrassing. Again, I put that on the offensive coordinator. I think he's losing people. He lost the first week. He lost to Swift. I just think it's strange. I think it's really strange.
I think it's strange also.
It'll come with time, though. It'll come with time, right?
That seems to be the motto of this Eagles team so far this season. All right, now we go back to Jalen Hurts, and you had brought this up earlier, John, and it's about him running. And why does it seem like he's going down quicker than maybe he was last year?
He needs to protect himself. He took the big hit against New England, and it's always been our intention to make sure that he's protecting himself as a runner. And we encourage him to slide, and we encourage him to get down, and we encourage him not to take a big hit. Step out of bounds when you can. Do we want all our guys stepping out of bounds? No, we want our other guys, most of the times, if it's not a 2-minute drill, is to keep the ball in their outside arm and use their stiff arm, play a little bit of pound on the sideline. I don't want Jalen doing that. Every run play that we have in for him, or any read play, is done with the utmost thinking about him all the time to make sure we keep him safe.
Now, I agree. That's fine. I know you don't want to get any player hurt, especially a guy you just paid $51 million to. All of those things, your star quarterback, totally understand it. But that is vastly different from the way Nick Sirianni was talking about Jalen Hurts not too long. It may have been during the offseason where he said, look, I'm not going to take away. What do you want me to do? The guy signs a big contract, so now all of a sudden we're going to tell him not to run or not to do this and not do that? No, we're going to use him to the best of his abilities.
Nope.
This kind of counteracts that.
It's coaching a little scared when you could coach a little smarter. Just have it be that you don't feature it as much. But Jalen's got to be Jalen. He looks tentative. He doesn't look himself.
It's a fine line to try to take away when you're trying to take away the explosiveness of a player and things that they want to do. There's a fine line there, and I don't blame Hurts. I don't blame Sirianni. I understand wanting to protect him. I understand that you want him to be your quarterback for the next 10 years, and if he's taking 10, 12, 15 hits a game, that's going to take time off of him. But yeah, it's just vastly different than what the coach, had said during the offseason, I believe.
And the contract, do you think, has anything to do with it? I do.
Okay.
And I think December, the fact that the week before Christmas, he's had to deal with 2 years in a row he's had to pretty much deal mid-December with Hurts injuries. That's probably on his mind too.
Yeah, and
for
they
good reason.
They do a training camp where they don't do a lot of hitting so that they can be healthy. I guess the thinking might be, well, why not carry that through with your quarterback? And look, this could all be a lead-up thing too. It could be oh my God, week 14, 15, 16, all of a sudden, Hurts is Hurts again running around the way he was.
Okay.
Who knows? We'll have to keep an eye on what it is, but that's different than what it was. All right, now talking about the offensive line a little bit. Landon Dickerson, there was some stuff with him being offsides on the tush push play. I think this question is more geared towards, and listen to the answer carefully, more geared towards, is the league trying to get you guys to stop doing this?
We're always thinking anything that we have to need clarification on will turn into the NFL. Anything we have a question on, we're gonna ask. And in the attempts of it's not to bitch about the call. It's to give knowledge for us so we can coach it the best way we can coach it and play within the rules of the play and of the league.
So on
I like
Sunday,
that answer. I don't know that I believe it, but I like the answer.
Yeah, it was a bullcrap answer, but I think he's basically saying, yeah, we send it in because we want to make sure we're running the play right. You're alerting the league, I think, that referees might be trying to take this thing away a little bit. And I'm not being homerish here saying anything like that. It's gut reaction. When you have the reaction around the league that you're having, Jack Del Rio and Ron Rivera and oh, this is a rugby play. This isn't a real football play. It might creep into the referees a little bit. Say, oh, we got to watch this. Is this really going the way? Now, Dickerson's head was offside and he, false started. No problem with that there. But there is a problem also that two defenders also had their heads beyond the ball, and another defender had his hand underneath of the football. So I think this is really smart by Nick Sirianni, like kind of a, hey, I'm sorry, what are we doing wrong here on this play? Basically saying to the league, don't you guys take this away from it because we're doing nothing illegal. False start, fine. But they're doing nothing illegal in the lining up of it and the running of the play. And I got to laugh when a lot of other teams are now trying to run it, and it happened again last night.
I like your bullcrap answer. Good analysis.
Yeah, but I like what he's doing.
No, I like
what he's doing, yeah.
Right.
All right, the last thing here, talking about the Rams coming up, their best player, Aaron Donald. How do you approach him? What's your line of thinking when it comes to someone like that?
Always got to be alert for the best player on the field, and you just always have to be alert for him. And sometimes that's a D tackle, sometimes that's a D end, sometimes that's a linebacker, sometimes that's a corner or safety, right? Aaron Donald's multiple, right? Obviously I'm early in my studies here, but shoot, you don't have to have the tape on very long to know where 99 is and how disruptive he is. Really didn't even need to put the tape on. I've seen enough plays of how many plays this guy has made.
Aaron Donald is one of those guys. It's like he's wearing a pink shirt and everybody else is wearing white when you watch that guy play. It is just unbelievable the effect that he has on a game from a defensive lineman standpoint. The guy is a beast, a monster. You put anything you want into it. What I would love to hear this week is one of the coaches or whatever, maybe we'll hear it after the game, is that a Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis watch tape of him a little bit this week, and some of the coaches or other players said, that could be you. That could be you. So I'm glad there's somebody on another team that's that good. Don't deny it. Don't walk away from it. Attack it. Talk about it. 99's the guy. And I like what Sirianni had to say as far as that went.
I really think I think it was good. I think it was, to me, I like how he absolutely has grown into the role. He is so much more, I believe, Pat. I have faith in him when I hear him speak than I did before.
Well, yeah, I mean, the first introduction we ever had with him, he sounded like a bumbling idiot. Let's be real about that. And he's grown into being a head coach and speaking in a way that we have faith he'll fix it or get the job done or whatever. And there's also the elephant in the room. He's won.
He tends to deliver, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He tends to deliver when he tells us something. Yeah. And that to me makes me like he deserves that respect.
Yeah.
Because you do. He tends to when he tells you he's going to do something, he tends to do it.
Yeah,
Good
now
stuff.
Eagles get Juergens is out for a couple of weeks with the sprained foot.
Right.
So you got Sua Opeta is stepping in there. Aaron Donald, not exactly what you want, but you know what? Those other offensive linemen are so good that you have to trust them and come up with a game plan for Aaron Donald specifically. So great offensive line against, probably one of the most dominant defenders in all of football.
All right, Kristen wants to know which one of your crew, John, the other day brought up Cam Juergens and constantly having something going on during games.
No, that was Landon Dickerson.
I thought it was Landon Dickerson.
Yeah.
we talked about
I thought it was Landon Dickerson. Cam Juergens has been fine. I think he's been a little less than I expected.
I didn't expect much of anything, being he's a center going over to right guard. I really didn't.
Because he's been good, but he hasn't been. I don't think he's been out like anything outstanding.
When they haven't called his name out to say it's been horrible, the announcers, so therefore, okay, that's fine. I wasn't looking for anything spectacular. I was thinking of Fatty over there at right guard.
Sure.
Fine. He's a natural center. He's going to be your starting center when Kelsey decides to hang him up. He's just plugging a hole right now. You're going to need a right guard at some point.
Hey, if your basement or your crawl space smells musty, or you've got watermarks on the block walls, you need to get a completely free home inspection from the experts. Call BQ Basements and Concrete because the problem will only get worse. Now, Marty says Bob should just do the press conferences for Sirianni and tell us the truth. He agreed exactly what you said, but he thinks it's master strategy on the tush push. He agrees with you. He goes, that's master's level strategy. Well, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
Instead of bitching and complaining about it,
It's basically
put the pressure on them to say, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah, you're going to the NFL offices and say, hey, talk to your referees. You guys have not deemed that we're lining up wrong. Okay, we were offsides on that play.
Yes.
You're right. No problem there.
And they were, by the way, no matter what anybody.
But he's just saying, is there something wrong with what we're doing? Am I doing something? No. Okay. All right. Well, just making sure. Because, we just want to make sure that we're not doing anything wrong here. And then your bottom line is, also on that play, can you just tell them to keep an eye on the defenders? Because it seems like their helmets are going past the ball also. Thank you. Love Nick.
And then it doesn't, and then you're not acting like the whiner, and you're not throwing them under the bus behind a microphone. I always think that's the worst strategy. Riding referees during games, and more importantly, taking to the mic afterwards and ripping referees. I think it ends up costing you down the line. It's human nature. It's human nature that someone's going to be like, that guy was a jerk to us. Whereas Coach Sirianni has done a really good job on that. I got some good news for you. Tim Kurkjian will be joining us soon here in studio. We appreciate ESPN's Tim Kurkjian for stopping on by. The Marlins were last in the National League in runs scored. The perfect answer for a struggling pitching staff. You're facing the worst offense in the National League, and they made the postseason. They may be the perfect opponent with two of their top starters out and the offense being the worst in the National League. To me, this may be the best option, Pat. This might end up being, like the Marlins may end up being the lottery ticket that we found on the floor that ends up being, a blessing.
I hope so. I mean, we'll find out in, 14
We're
hours.
Find out 12 hours and a half.
Yeah, we'll find out if it's that or if they are, that like boogeyman that we just couldn't shake. And it's, the old enemy that comes back and rears its ugly head. But they should be. The Phillies should be better than them. You shouldn't have to sweat out these games. You should be coasting to a 2-0 series victory. Even with the Marlins throwing out Luzardo in Game 1 and I think Garrett's going Game 2. Like, they're throwing out decent pitchers, but the Phillies lineup should be able to overcome that.
Yeah, this is a nice setup for us. Like, this is the worst offense coming in and two top starters out. You should face a Marlins team this is a team you should beat, and you should be heavily favored to beat, and they are the biggest favorites.
Yeah, I just, like I said before, I don't see a team coming in here and beating the Phillies in this round. Now that we know it is the Marlins, a team that doesn't score a lot of runs. Can you bring this Phillies team, if you're a Marlins team, can you bring this Phillies team down to your level of, we got to make it a 3-2 game, a 2-1 game?
That's what they want.
Exactly. I don't think they can do that, not with this lineup and not with their bullpen eventually going to have to try to control this Phillies lineup.
I said this morning, by the way, Pat, I'm going to send you something here. I've made a mistake. Tim is this is chemo brain kicking in big time. We're calling Tim. That's entirely my fault.
I remember my first radio show.
We are calling Tim.
What are we calling him?
We're calling him right now. He is actually in Tampa. So just to make sure, Egan, do you have it or should I send it to you? I'll send it to you.
I think I do. I might have it.
I'll send it to you just to make sure.
Yeah, just in case.
But this is entirely on me, and I'm sorry. This is chemo brain kicking in.
That's all right. Do what you got to do.
I got that.
It was funny when John asked me earlier today about who the player I thought was tonight that, who's going to be the guy tonight, I think is kind of how you phrased it. I went back to the preseason. I went back to spring training. I went back to the World Baseball Classic. And I think this might be kind of a similar stage where Trey Turner, who is hot as hell right now, goes up there and goes, oh, yeah, I remember the feeling of this. I remember playing for my country before the season started this year. Oh, yeah, this is what it's all about.
That energy.
Boom.
Well,
yeah.
Feeling the energy of that building. Look, when he won the national when he won the World Series with the Nationals, he was he felt the crowd. The crowd was great. But let's go to the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Comcast Business, get you ready for what's next. And Tim Kurkjian, the chemo brain this morning, I thought you were in studio. I'm an idiot. So we appreciate you joining us.
He's here in spirit.
Live from Tampa. We appreciate it. So you're enjoying a nice sunny stroll this morning, maybe, to clear your head after talking to us.
No, I've got the Rangers and the Rays today, so I will be indoors today, but climate controlled, no rainouts, nothing like that. So I don't like dome stadiums mostly, except when it comes to the postseason, because we can't have a rainout in the postseason. It messes up everything.
All right, Tim, we talk about so much about Red October here and about the fans creating this amazing home field advantage. In fact, I saw where 30-plus games of home field advantage, the Phillies are the best in the National League. So, as far as a home field advantage, do you think it really matters in this series when there's such familiarity?
I think it always matters, especially in Philadelphia, because that crowd is tremendous. I was so impressed with what I saw there last year. All the games I covered in that ballpark in the postseason, that is a loud, raucous, intimidating crowd. And does it affect the Marlins? Well, they've been there before. They haven't been there during a playoff game. I think it's slightly different. So, yes, I always give a tiny home field advantage, especially when you have a crowd like that.
Tim, there's been so much talk and so many different definitions, so I want yours on this, about the Phillies being built for October. What does that mean to you, and are they?
I think they are. Just to go back, you look at the Braves from the past. They were not always built for October because they had 5 great starting pitchers, and they could only use 3 of them in the postseason. I think the Phillies are built for October because they have enough starting pitching, because they can hit the ball out of the ballpark, because with Trey Turner and others now they can run a little bit more. When you hit the ball out of the ballpark, you win in October. I think the latest stat is if you out-homer your opponent in a postseason game, you win that game 75% of the time, and that's what the Phillies can do. Plus, with Nola, Wheeler, and others, they have a chance when those guys are right to outpitch a lot of people also.
Tim, do you believe last year honestly means anything for this team going into tonight's action?
I think it does, John. I sensed a real, I know this sounds corny, but a real camaraderie and a real chemistry on that team built by Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins and Kyle Schwarber and others. But I always felt like I was going to watch a college baseball game when I watched the Phillies play. And I think that carries over to this year. I think the Rob Thompson magic that he brought in last year still exists going in. And now I think every one of those guys who didn't understand what October and the World Series is about, they're going to understand it better going into tonight.
Tim, this Marlins team that the Phillies are facing kind of mirrors that of like the Indians from Major League. They weren't supposed to win. They find themselves here with a lot of unknowns at least. For the listeners out there that weren't dialed into a lot of Miami Marlins baseball this season, even though they're in the division, what kind of team are the Phillies facing tonight?
Well, they had a really good month of September. and that makes them a dangerous team. I did not see them as a playoff team going into the season, and I didn't see them making the playoffs even going into September. But they really played well, and they pitched exceptionally well. And the guy tonight, Jesus Luzardo, a scout told me yesterday, this is the best he has thrown, not just this year, but in his entire career. That's lately. So the Phillies are running into a very hot pitcher in Game 1, and Braxton Garrett, who will pitch Game 2, has also been very effective lately. So you have a hot team playing as well as it has all year. They're not necessarily going to bludgeon you with their offense, but they can pitch, and they play the game the right way.
Tim, if we've noticed anything about Rob Thompson, it's that he does have a, let's call it a fondness for right-handers, left-handers, and adjusting a game accordingly. With the Marlins starting a left-hander, we thought that the lineup would include a Brandon Marsh in left field. Would you see him maybe going another way and looking to get another right-handed bat in against Luzardo?
Yeah, he's such a difficult left-handed pitcher that the more right-handed hitters, the better. But when Brandon Marsh, who can really play the outfield, as we know, and has hit left-handed pitching at times before, it's a difficult decision. But again, this is where the numbers come in that tell you who to play. But more important, this is where the gut feeling of the manager comes in. And this is where Rob Thompson has always really impressed me. He looks at all the numbers, but having been around the game this long, he says, I got a good feeling about this guy, whoever this guy might be. And then he's going to play that guy. And I hope we never lose that in baseball. We've lost a bit of that in baseball. I hope we get some of that back.
I saw a poll from my old radio station in Atlanta, Tim, where they asked their listeners yesterday, who do you want to face? Do you want to face the Marlins or the Phillies? It was like 87 or 88% that they want to face the Marlins. Do you think that's in the Braves' head? They're going to play some simulated games this week to try to handle their off week differently. But do you think last year is potentially in the Braves' heads if they see the Phillies charge into the next round?
I don't think so. When you hit over 300 homers in a season, I don't think anything is in your head except for we're going to score 10 runs tonight. That's how the Braves are operating. But have they suddenly forgot that the Phillies beat them last year? Of course not. So I don't think it's in their head. That implies that the Braves are weak-minded, and they are not. The only issue with the Braves is Max Fried going to be completely healthy? Where's Charlie Morton going to be with that finger injury? Those are significant questions with the Braves. But offensively, there are no questions with the Braves.
Tim, with this matchup only being 3 games, who do you think that favors? The upstart Marlins or this Phillies team and some more veteran laden?
Well, I'll take the veteran team, and I'll take the veteran team at home. But let's not forget, fellas, the season we just watched. I think it's the weirdest season I've ever seen. Seriously, the Cardinals, the Yankees, the Mets, the Padres, all those teams were supposed to be, Yankees were supposed to be good, and they weren't. And the Marlins made the playoffs, and the Diamondbacks made the playoffs, and the Reds almost made the playoffs, and the Orioles won 100 games. I mean, this has been a really bizarre season. And let's not forget the Phillies were essentially the last team in the playoffs last year, and they went to the World Series. The point is, anything can happen starting tonight, and that is the ultimate beauty of baseball. But to repeat, I'll take the Phillies veteran team at home in a playoff series against the Marlins.
Do you think so? So I take it then you think the Phillies are better this year than they were last year?
I think they are. I think, Trey Turner, who got off to a terrible start but has really played well lately, I think he adds dimension that they didn't have last year. But I repeat, it comes down to mostly to Nola and Wheeler. How well are they going to pitch? Because if they're dominant like they can be, that puts the Phillies in a very good position.
Tim, you were in studio with us a couple of months ago, I believe, and Turner was in that slump that you alluded to. And you confidently just turned to us and said, yeah, he'll be fine the rest of the year. Don't worry. He'll get, for the rest of the season, he'll hit about 300. You were spot on. Was it just because he's that good that you felt that confident? And did you see something different from him after you were in here?
Well, I think he's that good. The last National League player to be in the top 3 in hits 3 years in a row top 2 in hits, was Pete Rose. That's how far
Wow.
you got to go back to do what Trey Turner did the previous 3 years. So we know he's a really good hitter. And that day, and I was around for that day that the Phillies fans stood up and cheered a 220 hitter and said, "We're with you," he has taken off since then. It sounds corny, but I believe in that stuff. I think he looked around and said, "I've been terrible this year, and these people are still with me." And he's played like hell since. It's a really good story.
So you like kinder, gentler Philadelphia then? You think it played to our advantage?
No, I think the Philly fans should never change. I think their rough, tough exterior is what makes them some of the greatest fans in the world, and it really helps the Phillies, and it really works against the other team.
Looking forward to seeing the action. Now, you'll have early afternoon, a little Burns tonight for dinner or anything like that? You got night plans?
My night plans are to come back to my hotel room and watch the 2 games on TV basically at the same time. So that's the best part of the postseason is when you're not covering a game, you're watching a playoff game that really matters. So I'll be hunkered down in my room watching the Phillies game at 8 o'clock and trying to keep track of the other game at 7 o'clock.
Room service will be really good tonight, Tim. We appreciate you as always. Sorry for the confusion. Thank you so much this morning.
Okay, boys. See you.
We'll
Thanks,
talk to you soon. Tim Kurkjian joined us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day.
I idolize him.
He's awesome.
He is a great member of the media, and the joy that he has doing his job. I mean, just hearing his voice crack, it cracks because he's excited about what he's talking about.
Yes.
And when he laughs, it only makes me smile. I just love Tim Kurkjian. I do.
Well, he's great, too. He's got a good kid, too.
Yeah.
We sort of like his kid.
He's all right.
Just became a
We
father.
sort of like his kid.
Yeah, he's fine.
He works down the street with that Candy Winters.
Yeah.
Andy Summers.
That's Donnie Gray.
The legend. I mean, absolute legend. And we appreciate Tim for joining us this morning. And I'm sorry about that, guys. I absolutely was totally off.
No biggie. We got him.
Yeah, just to try to keep things straight. This brain is a little bit of a trouble at this point. We got a lot coming up, much more on Red October, but some questions about the Eagles that we've got to get to. And there is Bob uncovered a number that he wants us to all know with the Eagles, and he thinks it's confounding. We'll get to it next.
The Fanatic. Now, back to the John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
It's been all about Red October with some green sprinkled in. Kelly and Midnight. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Thank you for being here for our 700th edition. We love you, and if you've been a day one person, we really love you.
Thought we'd get canceled after 350.
I mean, seriously. We've
The
had enough
hashtag blessed.
We've had enough tumult on this show for any show to last a lifetime.
Yeah, we've had a few cash changes, that's for sure.
And a little bump in the road. So we appreciate everybody sticking with us. I want to remind you that Staples stores provide innovative products and services for small business, remote workers, and learners, even teachers and parents. Explore more at your local Staples store. A lot on the Birds as the Birds get ready for the Rams. And in Cooney's Corner, Bob says he uncovered a number when it comes to the Eagles' offense that you're going to want to hear about.
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's Corner.
Yeah, we know it's a Phillies Tuesday and stuff like that. But like with our listeners, when we go out and talk and on here and everything, I love when they bring up stuff that makes you think. You know, so I came across this yesterday, and I just thought it might make you guys think a little bit. This year so far, now I went all through the game summaries and all that,
all right.
and it wasn't going back and watching, but it was in my head because of my buddy Rock. Rock brought up to me. No, it's cool. Like it's just like the YouTube people. They'll bring up
Rock's
stuff.
your ghostwriter.
Yeah, he probably
Rock is really like your Cyrano.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, you guys, that's all we do is talk sports. It's nuts. And I have a lot of group of friends that's what we do.
You wouldn't hang out with these people if there wasn't sports.
Yeah, but it's like the people on YouTube. They'll bring up a subject, and I'll be like, wow, that's really interesting and stuff you want to think about. So think about this. I went back through every play that the Eagles ran this year in the red zone, and there was 42 of them so far in the 4 games.
Okay.
How many times do you think they threw into the end zone? Not just threw the ball to look. How many times do you think they threw the ball into the end zone? Because Rock brought this up to me, and he's like, it seems to me, I just don't like the way they're running things or whatever. So I looked it up. 42 plays. How many times do you think they threw the ball into the end zone?
7.
42, I'll go 12.
2.
That's not real. That
2.
can't be real.
So the one was
the
one was the touchdown pass. You guys probably remember it to Devontae Smith.
Yes.
I believe it was the New England game where he just, was kind of a little like sidearm throw, and he caught it sliding down. That. And then there was one to A.J. Brown that was incomplete.
That can't be real.
Every other pass that they've thrown or play that they've run the ball a ton. But every pass that they've thrown inside the 20, besides those 2, have either been short passes hoping that the receiver will catch the ball and run into the end zone, or outs where it's, an 8-yard game from the 20, whatever it may be, or throwaways. They've only attempted 2 passes of completions in the end zone out of 42.
That's Brian Johnson.
I don't know. Because I went back to think of it about last year. Did they do it a lot last year? Because I remember talking about last year, once they get inside the 20, Miles Sanders would get some touches, Boston Scott, whatever. We didn't talk a lot about passing into the end zone.
No, we didn't. But
so
that seems like Brian Johnson to me. Like there's a Brian Johnson.
Well, if they didn't do it last year, it wasn't Brian Johnson.
They did it more than that, though.
I'd have to go back and check, but the reason this was brought, the reason Rock brought it up to me is because he was saying, dude, don't you notice? Once they get inside the 20, and he was talking about last season, he brought it up last season. Once they get inside the 20, he goes, I don't know if they don't trust him. I don't know if it's not part of their game plan. I don't know if they have so many other things that work really well that they run, but they don't throw the ball into the end zone a lot inside the 20. So that's what made me go back this year and look.
And last year
I just thought it was really damn interesting.
And last year they were good in the red zone.
Oh, you can't.
And this year they're terrible.
And that's part of what Rock's point was, look, I'm not bashing. He goes, I wish they would let him unleash it a couple of times towards the end zone. I wish he would pull the trigger. They just don't seem to do it. And that's when, I think you and I talked off air, like I brought it up to you one time saying, I wonder, I'm going to have to check this out. I couldn't believe
that's
2
crazy
for 42.
Math. That's crazy math, though.
Why do you think it is, though? Or do you think it's just... It just happened that way. It's just
no. That's Nick Sirianni doesn't ad lib a a breaking wind after a baked bean dinner. I mean, he doesn't. I think everything is by a plan. So he's got a plan, and obviously, I hate to think it's trust, because I think that would be bad. That would be a bad assumption on our part that it's trust.
Well,
but you have to ask the question about whether they think that's his best skill set.
And when you talk about trust, you don't have to just go coach trusting player. You can go to player trusting player. Look, Donovan McNabb never wanted to throw an interception, and he rarely did. And at times we thought, man, he doesn't try to squeeze balls in there because he doesn't want to get an interception. Well, is it a case that maybe Jalen Hurts doesn't trust himself? I wouldn't assume, because he seems like a very confident guy, but there must be something to it. I mean, 2 for 42.
That's crazy. That's good research. Pat Rock is really adding to this show.
He
always has.
No, that's not good. It sucks.
No, it's cool because it makes you think.
It's not cool. It doesn't. I don't want to think. I want to. That's
we
horrible.
don't want you to think all that much either. But does it come into play with Pat? What you said, you came to my mind. I think you said to me, you said on our pregame show that Brian Johnson sucks red zone offense.
He's horrible.
Or you said it on Monday.
Yeah.
Could this be part of the problem?
Yeah.
Could it be part of the problem that this whole thing is being taken away? They don't trust. They don't want to. Hurts doesn't want. Whatever the reasoning being, can't throw the ball in the end zone inside the 20.
Yeah, I think it's a big part of it. You have completely ignored your passing game inside the 20. You have completely ignored your tight end, which probably has something to do with it, too. You're running really dumb plays. Like, I'm not talking, hey, if it works, I'm only complaining about it because it didn't work. In the moment, you're going, what are you doing running the ball on 3rd and 11 inside the 20? And it's one of the reasons why, and John, you have the stat in front of you. I forget what it was, but, Jake Elliott is on pace for, like, double the amount of field goals.
It's terrible.
You can't be settling for 3 when you need 6 against the elite teams. In the moment when you're playing, these teams that, will be drafted in the top 15 of the draft, it's fine, whatever, it'll work. But, if you're looking at the long game, you can't be settling for 3. And this is probably a large reason why. Because, he gets into the red zone and Brian Johnson goes, hey, let's run sweeps.
It just makes no sense.
Well, it's funny, and somebody on here is going like, Bob, they're 4-0. I'm not questioning.
Stop with
no,
that.
That's fine. I'm not questioning. This isn't a what the hell are you doing type of thing. That's not how I'm putting it. The Eagles' offense was great last year, and this is when this conversation started. The Eagles' offense so far this year, a little bit down, but I don't think it's because of this. I just thought it was an interesting thought. That, man, did you ever notice inside the 20 they don't go to the end zone all that much? And then I looked up the numbers, and 2 for 42, it's a talking point. It
is a talking point.
It's different. And,
I'm so
maybe
tired
this year
of
it's not good. It's fine. It's true.
Hey, they're 4-0. They're not playing well. And they're letting opposing quarterbacks who are literally in danger of losing their jobs have their best game against them. 3 of them.
I don't think they're playing poorly. They're just not playing.
For them, by their standards,
exactly, yeah, by their standards.
Well, that's what they say, Pat. That's what they always tell us. Well, that standard is not being met.
Like our standard is usually to give out like $1,000.
That would be great. Let's do it.
Win $1,000 right now. 97.5 The Fanatic's Kelly Green Cash.
Your chance to win $1,000 in a brand new 2023 Birds Kelly Green jersey. Text the word BELIEVE, BELIEVE, to 45911. Or you can enter it on the Fanatic app or at 975thefanatic.com. One winner selected at random is going to win $1,000 in this company-wide contest, and winners are going to get a call from Beasley. So be sure to answer your phone. Complete rules are available at 975thefanatic.com. This is all brought to you by Rand Spear, the accident lawyer. You demand Rand. Call 1-800-90-LEGAL. Please, never text and drive. It's the FedEx Kelly Green Crash. Believe. Spell it out. BELIEVE. Text it to 45911. Go to the Fanatic app or 975thefanatic.com. Let's do 2 days in a row where we come up with a winner. Never text and drive, please. Good luck. Because if you text and drive, then Rand Spear will be defending the person that you hit because you're being a terrible driver. So make sure that that's taken care of. Can we do 2 days in a row? Where one of our listeners wins, you have until like 8:15 to get it in. Believe. Cool. That'd be pretty awesome.
Set the goals high, John.
We've already had 2 winners in the company-wide contest, one with Best Show Ever and one with us, so it'd be good to have that. So, hey, it is the Birds are 4-0, and Brian has to live in Dallas and deal with it all and deal with the Dallas fans. Brian, what's going on, brother?
Hey, John, what's up, man? Hey, I just wanted to piggyback on what you said, and I want all Eagles fans to hear me. I love my Birds, but I'm sick and tired of hearing about we're 4-0. All right, a win is a win. I want all the Eagles fans to remember this. Last year, the great Eagles team we had, the Vikings had the same exact record we had. And that whole 13-4 season, everybody knew the Vikings weren't that great. They had the same record we had. They had the same number of wins that we had. I think they set a record for winning tight games last year, too, if I'm not mistaken. They had a comeback game from 33 points down, and even when they made the playoffs, what happened when it came against a sorry Giants team? All right, we cannot beat the Dallases, the San Francisco of the world, the Chiefs, the Dolphins, and the Bills when we throwing the ball. We won't throw the ball in the red zone. That's not going to happen. So stop telling me we're 4-0 and a win is a win, because this is not going to work at playoff time football.
Thank you very much. I mean, Brian, it's just I'm so tired of the win is a win crap. It's just you get it. There is a standard. They tell us that there is a standard. You have one of the top rosters in the NFL, and you have given 3 crappy quarterbacks their best game of the year against you. Don't tell me that it's a win is a win. No, it doesn't matter. It does matter.
I'm with you. Winning does matter. If winning didn't matter, right, there would be no tiebreakers and all that when it comes to playoff time. How you win does matter. How you win matters. And we've got to get better. We have no progression from game 1 to game 4.
I do. You know what is funny is I believe that the head coach knows how to get that done. I'm not sure that I believe the coordinator does.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
And that's got to change. And hopefully he's going to change. But guess what? He's learning. And maybe he's look. I think Nick Sirianni is a smart guy. Thanks, Brian. I think he's a smart guy, Bob. I don't think he hired a dope, and I think that so I'm going to trust that Nick hired a good guy, and that it's just a slow start, and that everything will roll into shape. Because that's what I think. Nick Sirianni deserves that benefit of the doubt right now. I mean, I think he's shown us enough as a head coach that he deserves the benefit of the doubt. So
it's time.
Well, that was the wrong button. I was just trying to hit the old Nick Sirianni saying I'm the smartest coach in the world.
Wow,
but that didn't work.
That almost made me drop to the floor. I thought.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. All right, anyway, we move on. There's our perfect show. It's over now.
It's over. No, the perfect show ended.
4 at least.
Our perfect show just ended.
No, the perfect show ended when Tim Kurkjian was in Tampa.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And not in.
I don't know what you're talking about. He was in studio somewhere.
He was in.
The studio's relative.
I think he was in his fine hotel room down there. So.
Well, some people call that a studio. You know. Hotel room, studio.
You never ever know.
It could be each of them. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and act like I know exactly what Brian Johnson and Sean Desai are doing.
Right.
How much Nick Sirianni has a part in what they're doing. Play calling inside the red zone. Is it Sirianni? Is it Johnson? Is it a collaborative effort? I don't know. I can't sit here and say they've been bad, they've been good, because I really don't know all of what they're doing. Nothing's been up to snuff.
You can't say that they've been bad or good?
I don't know the schematics of what they're going on.
By our standards. Remember, they talk about the standard all the time.
You can coach your ass off, and if your players aren't performing, it could come back to the players. I think I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I can't. I haven't schematically seen. I don't like that the Eagles aren't getting pass rush the way they did. Pat goes right to it. Desai, you're killing it. I don't know.
I don't like the play calling. I haven't liked the play calling at all. And Pat, that is something that you've also talked about. To me, it's confounding the way they're going about calling plays. The offense doesn't look smooth. It looks choppy.
It does.
And Jalen, thank God, looked like Jalen throwing the football this past weekend.
He did, yeah. He kind of reverted back, and my concern at level was never really with Jalen, but it is more to do with the guy calling the plays. I mean, whenever they pan to the sideline, I don't see a lot of confidence in either coordinator.
He looks confused, like he's holding the sign.
It looks like the game's moving a little too quickly for him, and he just wasn't prepared. I do wonder how much leash Sirianni is giving him, because this is a guy that gave up play calling 6 weeks into his tenure as head coach, and recognizing what I'm doing isn't working, handed it over to Shane Steichen. Their offense looked much better there moving forward. Okay, so you replace Shane Steichen with Brian Johnson. Well, now Brian Johnson's shtick isn't working. At what point do you take over play calling duties? And if you do end up taking over play calling duties, then what purpose does Brian Johnson have on this team?
Well, he would be the quarterback coach. But the thing is, I don't think it's way premature, and I think you're right about it. You're not saying to do that.
No,
you're
I'm
just
not.
saying
But
it could happen.
I'm saying, like, if you're Nick Sirianni, you've got to be wondering, okay.
He waited 7 games, right?
Yeah,
7 games.
6 or 7. And the offense does not look good. We probably need to do better than this. This guy's a first-time play caller. Maybe the moment's too big for him because the moment was too big for me in my first year. And maybe it's something that Nick Sirianni looks at and goes, like, look, I got to take over. Because it's a question I have. Like, what does Nick Sirianni do on the sidelines? He's not calling defense. He's not calling offense. And I don't mean that in negative light.
No. You're not ripping him.
But, like, what does he do during the games? He's the head coach, but...
Yeah, but you know what, though? I think he's sort of like the Bobby Bowden coach.
Yeah, and I'm cool
you know
with
what
that.
I mean? Like the CEO type?
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that. But the CEO steps in when there's a problem, and I'm wondering at what point does Nick Sirianni step in? Now, he's probably looking at it like a lot of fans are. Hey, we're 4-0. This will get cleaned up. But if it doesn't get cleaned up and they go into that Miami game, or really their first test, and they get punched in the mouth, at what point does he go, like, look, I got to take over?
And I've heard people say that they see him on the sideline. I haven't seen it on TV, and we were at the game, obviously, last Monday. But people saying when they show him on the sideline, it appears he may be calling plays.
Well,
I don't know if he stepped in or not.
I was texting Andrew during the game, and when they had that 3rd and 11 run play, which was horrible, I wanted a camera on the sidelines because I felt like Nick Sirianni's reaction would have told me who called the play. If Nick Sirianni kind of was fine, just standing there, probably meant that Nick Sirianni called the play. If Nick Sirianni's reaction was that probably mirrored all of us in the Delaware Valley, then it means that Brian Johnson did. Because that's the truth. I don't know.
No, that's not a bad thought.
No, I mean, I just don't know how many plays Nick Sirianni's calling, if any. I would think that he'd want to have some input in the offense, but is he pulling Brian Johnson aside and going, hey, we're going for it and we're calling this? Or is he simply pulling Brian Johnson aside and going, hey, 4th and 2, we're going for it. You choose the play, and Brian Johnson says we're going up the middle with Kenny Gainwell.
Or don't lose the run here or something like that.
It's how much input is Nick Sirianni having and how much leash is he giving his new coordinator?
The one thing is that I will not, as critical as I'll be, I don't think it's been garbage, and I don't think that I'm going to give it time. But again, Nick Sirianni was given 7 games time, and he was the head coach, but he was losing, and they were 2-5. So the winning is going to cover things up. But the thing is, Bob, one of the terms you used, that fool's gold, I think it can end up being fool's gold, is that you're winning games, but you're letting mediocre to bad quarterbacks have their best games against you. And if you don't think that's a problem and you just want to do the old, they're 4-0, I think you're just being, to me, I think that's a lame way to go about it. Because, again, they talk about standard. They're not meeting the standard. And you got to meet the standard. If you're going to tell me about it, you got to meet it. And I want to see if this team starts to do that this week. I'm telling you right now, I have a gut feeling that this weekend's going to be the coming out party.
I feel like we said that.
Part 3.
No, yeah, exactly.
I know. No, but I just haven't, I just don't look. I look at this Rams team and I'm like, okay, you gotta be able to put up 27 on this Rams club, something like that.
I think
that'd be below average.
But the Rams are still playing a pretty nice defense.
Well,
I know.
Putting up points to me. Well, I've ripped Brian Johnson's red zone play calling. Hasn't really been the issue. It's in the defense. So I think you got to stop. You got to stop the Rams offense. But the good news is, I think it'll be a lot like Tampa. Vince and the gang from Philly Sports Trip.
Oh, they're going to be great.
I mean, I think that trip's sold out. They're heading out there to L.A. on Thursday or Friday, and I think it's going to mirror that of a couple years ago in 2017.
Where the Chargers game, was it?
Yeah, it was Chargers game, and then
they
the
took
LA
it
game
over.
again. It was both LA teams, but they took over the stadium, and I feel like it's going to be very, very similar for this week, where you're going to have the majority of fans there are going to be cheering for the Birds.
I love it. Let's hope it's a really, really nasty environment for the home team. That would be great. Fun, fired up. And as Tim Kurkjian told us, make some noise. We have lots coming up obviously on Red October, which is going to be absolutely great. Now, Bob says the Marlins are loaded with this. Loaded? Well,
Gills.
we'll find out. John, very good, Pat. John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. Hey, I know this. I can count on Bradford White. And Bradford White is not a person. Bradford White is a water heater. And you can have one in your house. Now, you don't roll into like a big box store.
5, the Fanatic, Philadelphia.
John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Welcome to Red October. Welcome into the show. We appreciate you. Hey, don't take shots to lose weight. NJ Diet's typical results twice as fast without any of the side effects. Lose weight quickly the natural way with njdiet.com. It is a big night.
Oh, can't wait. I can't wait for 8 o'clock tonight. I don't know what everybody's plans are. Brendan was just asking me, what are you doing for the game? 8 o'clock's tough for us because
gotta watch at home, right?
Yeah, at home, watching it. It's funny. One of my sons is going out. Tommy's going out to his program today, and Donna wanted to put a Philly shirt on. He's like, no. And
these birds?
She doesn't know. What it is when he gets home from his program, he always takes a shower. Then he's going to put on his because he wants to watch it. Yeah. All right, interesting stat for you real quick here, John. I just did it during the break.
Okay.
All right, first 7 games when Nick Sirianni was calling plays and the Eagles were 2-5 and things weren't going well.
Yeah, we were in Vegas flying home.
Right. The offense was averaging 22.7 points a game. For the rest of that season, after he gave up play calling, they averaged 28.5 points a game.
Okay.
So 6
almost
points
a
better.
Touchdown more, right?
28.5 points. Right now, with Brian Johnson calling the plays through the first 4 games, they're averaging 29.5 points a game. So they're doing even better than when they handed it over to Shane Steichen after 7 games of that for the 2021 season.
I think
interesting numbers.
Yeah, I think you have a veteran Jalen Hurts, not a first-timer Jalen Hurts. You also have A.J. Brown helps.
That's one of those numbers.
Helps. You know what I mean?
Seem to be deceiving.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you look at the Jake Elliott stat, it's like, all right, that tells me that their offense is really good. We knew that going in. Their offense could be so much better if they just punched a couple more of these in the end zone and didn't settle for field goals.
Right.
They're settling for field goals because your red zone play calling is atrocious.
And Pat, people were asking, what is the Jake Elliott stat? A couple people here on social media asking, well, what's the Jake Elliott stat you keep talking about? Last year, Jake Elliott, for the entire season, he missed 1 game due to injury. 16 games last year for Jake Elliott. He attempted 23 field goals. The entire season, 23. He's already attempted this year. He's already attempted 14. That's incredible. That's an incredible number. Jake Elliott is on pace for attempting 59, almost 60 field goals. That's atrocious. His most in his career. How bad is it? His most in his career is attempting 33 in a full season. He's done 31 twice. He's on pace to be at 31 at the halfway point of the season, pretty much.
And it could be more if they didn't go for it on 4th down so much.
Right.
Some of those instances they're going for it on 4th and 1 and whatnot. And
I mean, this is another thing where you just go, you can either say, nothing to see here, move on, nothing to see, no problems. He's already attempted 14 field goals. That's ridiculous with this Eagles team. But he's awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Just to mention that he's awesome.
Could be worse. Could be you're looking for a kicker right now because you have to attempt so many.
A lot of discussions about whether he's having his best statistical season this year. He's 13 of 14. He's at 92.9%. He's only had 1 season at 90+, and that was 2021. A lot of people saying best kicker ever for the franchise? Yes. I like David Akers a lot. He's the best kicker in the franchise's history, I believe. I really, you don't. Pat, where do you go?
not there yet.
You're not getting
yet.
close?
Longevity matters to you.
Oh, okay, okay.
The longevity factor, but I need to see more.
All right, Bernie and Wynwood's going down to the game tonight to watch the Phils. Bern, are you ready for Red October?
Am I ready? I was born ready for this. Come on, guys.
Attaboy, Bernie.
I even called you guys last year when I was going to the World Series.
Yes.
So, absolutely.
You were going to Houston. You went down to Houston, right?
No, I went to games 3 and 5.
Oh, you went to 3 and 5.
Yeah. So, I've got the car all packed up and ready to go. We're born ready for this. Like, I don't mess around. I've got 6 tickets tonight with friends. I've got 8 with friends on Thursday. So we're not messing around. We're all ready to go.
Have you checked out that Rally House in Wynwood yet, by the way? It's awesome.
Yeah, of course. It's right around the corner from my house, but that doesn't mean anything because I already have enough Phillies here after years and years of
being a passionate fan.
So you're like
that's
Pat.
what I do.
You're like Pat. You could wear Phillies gear every single day.
Absolutely. I'm probably going to get in a little bit of trouble for not dressing professionally at the office today, but I don't care.
That's right. Bernie, if the boss dares to get in your face, you tell him to call us, and we'll take care of him.
I mean, what boss is going to yell at that?
I think he learned after last October, after going into the office, maybe, 6 days out of 25 or whatever, I think he learns that October baseball means more to me than any job ever will.
Oh, that's great. Hope he's not listening to that, Vern. Take care, buddy.
You can find another job. You can't find those memories that you lost. You know, you need those memories.
Yeah, but memories don't feed you. Memories don't pay that rent.
I get, but the poll can. Like, you can find another job.
You can find another
All right, if Bernie wants, he can go down and find a place in Delaware Ave and shake it for dead presidents
with his Phillies gear on.
Not like I haven't done it before.
There you go. Your hips, Pat.
Start an OnlyFans.
Absolutely legendary.
Get on it.
Hey, we got First Friday coming up this Friday, too. You can go to the website. If you would like to be a guest for First Friday, you can get in on First Friday by going to 975thefanatic.com. Try to get in. We do have limited spaces for Friday, but we're looking forward to having you come on out on Friday and be a part of First Friday. We'll tell you a little bit more of the guest list coming up tomorrow on the show. All right, but coming up now, Bob says the Marlins are loaded. Now, are they drinking or is it something else?
Now, let's see what's in Cooney's corner.
Yeah, they're loaded with a lot of left-handed pitchers. And Phillies have a lot of good left-handed hitting hitters. We know that Rob Thompson loves to do the lefty-righty, lefty-righty, lefty-righty thing.
He's obsessed with it.
What do you think? Get your pen and paper out here. Tell me your lineup for tonight. Because he has gone all over the place this year, riding guys that are hot, lowering guys that are a little bit cooler, doing the lefty-righty thing. You got a lefty going tonight. So I'll start it off with all of us. I think we're all safe in saying that Schwarber's going to lead off as DH.
I think you're safe.
Turner's going to be your shortstop batting second.
Harper third.
Harper's at first base batting third. Here you go.
Now is where it gets interesting from that point on.
Now, late in the season, when Castellanos wasn't hitting all that well, he dipped him to 7, 6 in the lineup. Castellanos finished the season okay, got a little hotter when he put him down there. Pat, who's your number 4 hitter tonight? I'll start with you.
I'll go Alec Bohm.
John?
I'm going to go Castellanos.
All right.
Who are you going?
I'm going.
It's hard because it really is. I mean, he can go. You don't know which way this guy's going to go. And maybe as Tim Kurkjian, he seems to admire that.
Yeah.
Like Tim Kurkjian admired it.
I'm going to go Bohm also.
Okay.
All right, number 5. Now, so far.
Well, JT's got to, I guess, would have to go 5.
Well, I
don't know.
I think he's going to go do the lefty-righty, lefty-righty, lefty-righty thing. I'm going to go Stott at 5.
I think I'm going JT at 5.
Okay. Pat?
I'm going Stott at 5.
Oh,
all
man,
right.
that's he's putting 2 youngsters in major critical spot there.
Yeah, well,
at that point, he's been known to look. He goes by, as Tim says, he goes by his gut and everything like that. So maybe it's the case.
All right, 6-hole hitter. I got Real Muto.
Okay, I've got. I'll go Bohm.
John goes Bohm. What about you, Pat?
I will also go Real Muto.
All right, 7. I got Castellanos.
Yep.
I got Stott.
All right, 7 Stott. I don't mind that 7 Stott. All right, 8. Now here's the thing. Who's going to be in your outfield? All right, let's all say number 9 is Rojas.
Rojas is 9.
We all agree. Rojas is 9 out in center field. Who's your left fielder tonight, Pat, against the left-handed pitcher?
I think it's going to be Jay Cave.
Do you really?
Oh.
Yeah.
Pat, stop it.
Wait, Cave's a left-handed hitter.
Oh.
No, it's going to be Brandon Marsh.
I don't think you're going to. Yeah, the question is, are you going to go Marsh? Are you going to go, I don't know, does he go Pache for a right-handed hitter? Does he go what's the guy's name? Weston Wilson?
He has to go Marsh.
He's not going Weston Wilson.
Marsh
Marsh
cannot sit on the bench behind any of the guys you just named. He's the left fielder. He's got to be there. And guess what? Last year, he did have a few moments in the postseason. Some good, some bad. Defensively, some bad. But in left field, I feel really good about it. Put Brandon Marsh in there.
Yeah, Brandon Marsh.
I think you have to.
I have this fear that he's going to put Jay Cave in a lineup at some point.
Oh, well, maybe at some point.
Yeah, the lefty doesn't make sense, but at some point, I think he's going to put him in a lineup.
Are you going to complain if he does put Jay Cave in?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Okay.
Jay Cave sucks.
Yeah, no, I don't want to see Jay Cave for the life of me.
I'd rather have Weston Wilson than Jay Cave.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't mind seeing Weston out there. All right, so here we go. Pat, my lineup goes Schwarber lefty, Turner righty, Harper lefty, Bohm righty, Stott lefty, Realmuto righty, Castellanos righty, Marsh lefty, Rojas righty. John, you go Schwarber lefty, Turner righty, Harper lefty, Castellanos righty, JT righty, Bohm righty, Stott lefty, Marsh lefty, Rojas righty.
Yes.
Okay. We'll see how it plays out tonight.
Now, here's another number, too. Bob Wankel, by the way, with a tremendous Red October newsletter that I subscribe to. It's really, really good, and it's worth subscribing to. Here's some good numbers on the left-handed hitting. The Phillies struggled against left-handed pitching. I'm taking this right from his newsletter yesterday. They struggled against left-handed pitching earlier this season, but they finished as one of the most productive lineups against lefties. Their 7.79 OPS against lefties was 8th in all of baseball. So that's pretty good news.
Yeah.
Then he's got some bad news. Against Luzardo for their careers, the team against Luzardo, they're hitting a collective 211 with a 602 OPS.
They're due.
They're due, Pat. Pat, that analysis.
Pat.
That's top-notch analysis. We didn't even need Tim Kurkjian when you got Pat saying, they're due.
Yeah, they're due. Law of averages.
Wheeler against Miami. How do you feel against Wheeler against Miami? What would you guess this year?
Probably pretty good.
All right.
18 total innings. He yielded 15 hits and 4 walks, struck out 17. This season, the Marlins hit just .217 against him with a 3 ERA. So Wheeler had a 3 ERA, which is not spectacular, not terrible, but so he gave up some big hits.
Marsh against lefties this year, 22 for 96, 229 average, 3 home runs, 16 RBIs, on base percentage of .321.
Got to have it. Got to have him though. You got to have him in there. I think you there's something about trusting young people, and there's something about not making sure that you reward the guys that were there all year long. And Brandon Marsh exceeded every expectation this year. He
proved to be a Major League Baseball player.
Right. And
That's a good way of putting it. I like that.
Last year when he got here, he was what the Braves think of Christian Pache. So,
because Christian Pache sucks.
Yeah, your take on Christian Pache is my take on Jake Cave. He's 24 years old.
I agree with you on Jake Cave.
He hit like 250. Like I don't know.
He's a 175 hitter. I just don't.
He's
I don't
a
need him in my
250 hitter
lineup.
this season.
Yeah, he's done better.
50 at bats.
I don't know about that. Was it 50 at bats?
He's a 175 hitter. Like
for
I
his
just
career.
don't need it.
Yeah, but not for his career. But it's not here.
Yeah, but you're exactly. You're judging the kid based on playing in Oakland. Like it's hard for me to judge a kid when he plays in Oakland. I got to judge the kid here this season. He had 94 plate appearances.
He was 0 for his last 19 to finish the season before he got a hit.
I'm not saying he's a world beater.
Brandon Marsh had an 0 for 17 going into the last week that he broke.
Look, I'm not
he
saying
hit 272. He's a 250.
Look, I'm not saying he's a world beater. You saying he's a $173 hitter. You're judging that based on the previous 3 years, one of which he had 4 plate appearances. The year before he had 68 and then 250, which is the big one in Oakland. He hit 168. This past year, though, with Philly, he hit 238. He looked much better. And he's 24 years old. A lot of players don't come up at the age of 24. They come up at 25. Like Bryson Stott came up, I think, at 24.
Well, in this organization, they bring him up like at AARP.
They do, but like this kid's got a little bit of seasoning on him.
I think they like him too.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's the be all end all. I just don't think he sucks near. I think the book is still out on him.
Let somebody else read it.
That's the thing. People have read it. Like Atlanta had him for a bit, and you got to remember he was the big piece in the Matt Olson trade.
Huge piece.
And Oakland gave up to him after a year, but Oakland's talent evaluation.
I appreciate your affinity for young players that are unproven, and that's what he is. I agree with you. I don't need him here. I don't need a 175 so far hitter here. When you have the outfitters you have, and you have other guys coming up through your farm system, I'm okay. Okay.
So if you end up keeping him,
if you can get a Matt Olson for him, I'm great.
Okay, yeah, and I think that the Braves will probably do that. Christian Pache for Matt Olson straight up. Who says no?
Alex Anthopoulos is a thief.
Trade is horrible.
He's a freaking thief.
Yeah, that trade is bad. Shea Langoliers and
he's a stinking
Christian Pache.
He is the Hamburglar. He's coming in your window and he's stealing. It's just terrible. Hey, Red October's different this time around though. We are now 11 and a half hours from first pitch. This time, though, the Phillies are heavily favored to advance out of the wild card. Last year, there was no buzz about the Phillies. Oh, yeah, they're winning. They're winning this series. They're winning. Before that St. Louis series began. And everybody remembers it took that miracle inning to sort of set the fire, and then it was an inferno. It just spread. But being expected to win changes a lot. And I wonder, does it create pressure or a buzz that maybe they're not ready for some of the players? Like last year, Bohm and Stott and Marsh came through in some big spots, but they weren't expected to. There were no expectations on their shoulders. I'm really interested in seeing the young players on this team to have that chance to show out. Like I said to you, that Super Bowl made me a Jalen Hurts truther. I am a believer in Jalen Hurts. I saw him on the biggest stage go toe-to-toe with a Patrick Mahomes. You got a lot of young players here. A lot of young players on the Phillies that, to me, will cement themselves as, okay, yeah, we can count on this guy going forward for a long time. We can count on him because they're going to show out this October, when last year it was all gravy. This year, it's expectations. Stott and Bohm are expected to be big parts of this year. Last year, they were not. They were along for the ride last year.
Yeah, I mean, expectations higher this year. Yeah, you're expected to beat the Florida Marlins in a 3-game series all at your stadium.
Yes.
That's all. After that, expectations aren't higher. You're not expected to beat the Braves. The Braves are what they are. They're a juggernaut this year. So expectations higher. I mean, let's dumb it down. You're expected to win a 3-game series against the Marlins. That's all. So that's what I would be telling my players.
Win the home game series, yeah.
Yeah, if there's any thought of pressure or expectations or all that, guys, it's all good. You're just expected to win this series at home against the Marlins. You're going to do that. That's fine. Whatever's next, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But all you're expected to do right now is win a 3-game series with your top pitchers going against the Florida Marlins. I think that's very doable.
Yeah, I think that should be doable.
Do you think that's the message, Pat? Same message like Bob was saying there?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, you get through this series, and I think Rob Thompson's done a pretty good job of the message of, like, just keep your feet on the ground and in today, because you got to get through today, and you can't look ahead. We can look ahead as fans, and we are.
Yeah.
You know, we're looking ahead to Atlanta and matchups and whatnot. But for Rob Thompson, who's been in baseball a long time and has probably been on the receiving end of and I don't know this for a fact, but he's probably been on the receiving end of hey, we're favored, and we kind of overlooked the opponent, and we paid the price for it. He's probably reminding his players, look, we can't afford to lose a game in this series, and we got to take both games, because if you lose one game, now it's like you're facing elimination. This isn't a best of 5. This is a best of 3. So the message, I think, is pretty clear. Like, you just take it one day at a time, and hopefully by Thursday we're moving on to Atlanta.
Mark in Clementon, New Jersey. Wasn't there a Clementon Park?
There was.
Still is.
Probably still is.
Mark, how are you?
I'm good, gentlemen. Good morning.
It's right near Pine Valley Golf Club, right, Mark?
Not too far away.
That's
not
right.
Too far away. Clementon the park is still, it's close by. It's still, I guess, operating, but that's a point. Guys, Pache, Wilson, Cade cannot be in the lineup at all at any point during the playoffs. Unless we're up big, but I can't have that.
The only one I think that will be the playing would be Pache, but just for defensive replacement, as you said. Like, unless you're up big, you're putting him in there just as a defensive guy.
Not starting, yes.
None of these guys should be in the starting lineup at all.
But
Guy.
who would he be a defensive replacement for, Pat, though?
If you're playing Schwarber in left for whatever reason.
Okay.
For whatever reason.
I do not want Schwarber in left the entire postseason if I can. No.
Same. But let's not recreate the wheel here. The lineup that got you there the last month this season, Marsh playing left field, he adapted pretty well. Rojas in center field, Castian right. I mean, you can't beat that.
No, I think it's the best. It's the best way to go. You have any concerns about the Marlins?
I mean, they're young guys, for the most part, but they haven't played October baseball in Philadelphia. Going to playoffs. They don't know what that's like. It's a different ball game than regular season. So if they can somehow get over that, maybe, but.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you checking in, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
A lot of people count on. I mean, this is a franchise that has a better. They're better than you last 6 years. Just go back 6 years. The Marlins have owned the Phillies. I shouldn't say owned the Phillies. They have beaten the Phillies for that. That's pretty good. That is a good stretch. I just everybody's counting on the crowd. I just don't know if a starting pitcher is on. I don't know that the crowd matters, and a starting pitcher can take a crowd out of a game really fast. If he's mowing through the Phillies batters, it can take the energy out of a crowd very, very fast.
Yeah, we saw it last year a few times, but I don't anticipate that happening tonight. Yeah, I think Luzardo's going to pitch a good game. He's a good pitcher, and as Tim Kurkjian said to us earlier, he's throwing his best stuff right now, which is kind of surprising. He's at close to 180 innings. He's never gone past, I believe, 110 in his major league career, and that was only once. So it's surprising that it's seemingly he's pitching this well this late into the season. But this Phillies lineup's going to get to him. They just are. I truly believe it. No, you're not going to get Joey Schmo out of Section 137 to come down and all of a sudden hit you double in the gap. Phillies are going to have to do it on their own. But there's going to be momentum right away. It might lead to some jitters on Luzardo's end. So, yeah, the crowd will play a part. At some point, some way, it'll play a part.
Hey, left-handed pitchers in September. Coach Vinny Gallo checking in with us. Most games that were started versus left-handed pitchers in September, this was the Phillies lineup. God, Vinny is obsessed with this, which is great. Schwarber, Turner, Bohm, Harper as the cleanup. Real Muto, Castellanos, Stott, Pache, and Rojas. So in September, that's what Rob Thompson did the most versus left-handed. That was his lineup, the most versus left-handed pitchers. So he went Schwarber, Turner, Bohm, Harper, Real Muto, Castellanos, Stott, Pache, and Rojas.
Christian Pache this year against left-handed pitchers, 16 for 51, 2 homers, 9 RBIs, a 314 batting average.
He's got a bat.
375 on base. You just said that you had to have Marsh batting.
No, but I guess he has to be there then. I didn't look. That's Vinny. I'm giving Vinny Gallo the credit for that. That's not me. That is the lineup that Rob Thompson believed in versus left-handed pitching in September.
Do you find it, I don't want to say concerning, questionable, whatever. Do you find it odd that we very well and most probably will when we see the lineup tonight, because we just gave 3 different lineups,
right.
And then we got Vinny giving us, is it surprising or odd that we're going to get a lineup tonight that is going to be different than any of us think?
That would be odd. I think one of our lineups is going to be right. Mine won't be right. It's what I want. Mine won't be right.
I don't know if yours won't be right.
Vinny's might be right. No, because that Pache numbers are pretty amazing. As far as that is something that Rob Thompson, Pat, is not going to ignore.
I don't think he will either. Yeah, there's a pretty good chance Pache's
when you see that. So he's not going to listen to us. He's going to do what he thinks is right, and that's what Rob does. Just like
Pache coming up clutch tonight, Bobby.
Just like taking out Wheeler in the last.
I would love to look stupid tomorrow.
Pache's pots.
Much similar to taking Wheeler out in the last game of the year when he had there was no other game for Wheeler to worry about preparing for. But you gotta be tired.
Why are you bringing that up?
Because it was one of the biggest decisions he's ever had to make, and it was horrendous. Horrendous.
Yeah, it was a year ago.
Yeah,
it's
come
okay.
on. It's a whole new playoff season.
That's like saying the come on now.
He made some great moves last year too. Bring all them up.
He did. I noticed that Bob, though, this year hasn't been able to go to the managerial gold stuff. Now, in this postseason.
Because he set the standard and he's just riding it out.
No, he's not gold anymore. The gold standard is.
It is what it is.
What will the standard be this fall? Is it going to be silver? I'm hoping for silver.
I don't want pewter.
Honestly. You want pewter?
Oh, no, I don't want pewter.
No, I want silver. Do you have silver in your portfolio, Pat, or are you going all gold?
I don't think I have any of this.
William Devane says you're supposed to have silver in your portfolio also.
I don't think I got to check my account. I don't think
check
so.
your account. Just check it out. Hey, we got a lot coming up.
It's Hot Stock Enron.
Pat wants to be really. That's really good.
GameStop, Dogecoin.
You better keep working. Yeah, remember Bitcoin? Yeah, that was great. Pat has something that he thinks is Fugazi potentially. He'll put it to the test with you next. John Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Hey, the BetParks Casino and Sportsbook app has you in the zone. It's absolutely amazing. Download the BetParks app. Start playing today with odds, bets, slots, and games all right there in the palm of your hand. Play all your favorite casino games right at your fingertips. Winning is always a rush, and you're going to love it. Whether it's the thrill of an extra spin, trying to get another face card to cash out in a blackjack game, they got roulette. They got baccarat. They got ultimate Texas Hold'em, which I'm still trying to learn. And you can play at your own speed, plus some fantastic slots. Download the BetParks app, and you're going to get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. You play for fun and you love to win. So if you're going to bet, why don't you bet BetParks? Look, Red October begins today. Do not miss it. You want to get in on it right now. Tonight, you can bet on all the games. You can bet on the scores, the strikeouts, and more. Bet on the strikeout numbers for both pitchers over as high as you can go. Hey, it's John Kincade Tony. You get the BetParks app. You got to be 21 in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Ohio, or Maryland. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Tonight at 6, the real and inside story on the playoffs. Connor Thomas hosts a 2-hour preview of the wild card playoff. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Hey guys, it's Connor Thomas, and throughout all of our lives, we make plans for all kinds of big events, and some for our children. And one of those events is where your child should go to college. It's a tough call, right? It is for everyone. So what do you do if college isn't for them at all? What if they're in college and it seems like it was the wrong choice for them? Maybe your son or daughter is always talking sports or creating videos. Well, CSB Media Arts Center is home to Connecticut School of Broadcasting and could be the perfect fit. I mean, it was for me. The world of content creation starts at CSB with audio and video production, podcasting, sports broadcasting, my personal favorite, and more. Get the skills employers, like mine here at 97.5 The Fanatic, need at
Eagles talking.
Kincade Show on 97.5 The Fanatic. Glad to have you with us today. Hopefully, Red October is going to be a happy time for all of us. It's supposed to be gorgeous, though, at the park, potentially for all 3 nights. So if you're going to the games, I mean, absolutely amazing weather for this series, which is great. And I'm glad there's no weather issues or concerns.
No, seems good.
Because you wouldn't want that, because you're looking at this, there would be no, I'm just reading this in the thing, there will be no pushing back of the NLDS due to weather.
Nope.
So if there was a problem, you'd be in trouble. So Arizona, the other one, Arizona, Milwaukee, they're playing in a dome, so there'll be no problem with that. So
nope.
Everything all set and ready to go. Hey, for victims of drunk and drug driving, your grief is unique, but you're not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call the 24-hour victim hotline at 877-MADD-HELP or visit mad.org. Pat thinks something potentially could be Fugazi. But what is it?
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
Hi, guys.
Other than Tim being in studio today, what is Fugazi?
All right. Enough of that. Let it go. It's fine. We talk a lot about Fugazi teams in the NFL, and I know I brought it up. I think, Bob, you brought it up, and I know Andrew brought it up of the Buccaneers. They're a Fugazi 2-1 team. The Commanders, they're a Fugazi, whatever their record was coming into the week, right? And it's just an indictment of, like, your record isn't exactly telling the full story. Are the Eagles a Fugazi 4-0 team? Because you have played the Patriots and you're a toe tap away possibly from losing that game. You win 25-20. You play the Vikings 34-28. Game was never... I didn't feel like it was
a one-score game.
Yeah, it was a one-score game. I never felt like it was in doubt. But the Buccaneers 25-11. That was a nice performance. And then the Commanders, you have to sweat it out in OT. So 2 out of your 4 games were, I would say, close. And you had to sweat out. Vikings and Buccaneers being the outliers, even though the Vikings was a one-score game. Are they a Fugazi 4-0 team?
No.
Like the Rams right now. Okay, the Rams
2-2.
You go out to L.A. right now, and you turn on sports radio out in L.A. Are they going, the Eagles are Fugazi 4-0? Now, we can look at it differently, but our fan bases around the league, like we do so many times, judging other teams, and going, this team might be 3-1, but they ain't really 3-1. Our fan bases around the league going, the Eagles are 4-0, but they're just absolutely Fugazi.
I get your point, but I do not believe they are because of their talent. I think their talent is so pedigreed that I don't think they are. I think they're deep enough. I think they're good on both sides of the ball with talent. They should be playing better. On both sides, they should be playing better, executing better. I think that they are, they're just going through hopefully they're going through a lull that builds into something interesting.
I agree. To me, Fugazi, if it has a definition, would be if let's say a Giants team was 3-1, maybe even if a lower team had a good record and you were expecting, and it's going to come, the badness eventually. Like if a bad team, and we know it's a bad team, gets out to a really good start, to me, that's what Fugazi is. The Eagles are 4-0, and they're going to get better, I believe. So to me, that doesn't define Fugazi, no.
I'm not saying they are. I just
you're asking the question
because some people will go, "Oh, Pat thinks they're Fugazi." I think it's worth asking just because 2 of those 4 games. I mean, there's a world where they are 2-2, and luckily we don't live in that world. We live in the world where they're 4-0. But I do think that there are some fan bases out there. Some of them are like probably Dallas fan base is probably sitting there going, the Eagles are 4-0, but they're Fugazi.
They did last year too, and then they came in here and got their asses whooped.
Yeah,
without
Cooper
Dak.
Rush.
Without Dak, yeah.
But I would say there's a good chance that the Eagles go into week 7 against the Dolphins, and they're 6-0.
I think they will.
And if you're the Dolphins and you're a Dolphins fan and you're probably at that point 5-1, there is a chance that the Dolphins fans out there are just going like, yeah, okay, we might be 5-1, they might be 6-0, but we're the better team. That's a Fugazi 6-0. But it's more of just because of the way the games have played out. They've had 2 close games, 2 games that I never really worried about. But it's incumbent on the Eagles to kind of prove that they're not and keep winning. But we got a call earlier, bring it up. Style points do matter, and just for peace of mind, it'd be nice for them to go out in LA this week and just absolutely blow the doors off of them.
You can't talk to me about the standard every week, over and over again in every press conference, and then say the standard doesn't matter. Oh, all we did is win. We won. No, there's a standard. And they've told us that there is a standard, and they're not meeting the standard. But I do trust that Nick Sirianni, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt that he'll fix this thing for me, that he's going to get this thing fixed, and he's going to find a way to be able to, I guess, get this team playing a better brand of ball. This is a good team to do it against, too.
Yeah, they can play better.
They're not that good.
They can play better. There's no question about it. But we cannot throw away 4-0. You just can't.
No, you can't.
They can play better. We expect them to play better. That's why the definition of Fugazi to me is a team that's not as good playing way better than they really are, because I think
Giants
they're going to come back down. Right.
Yeah, okay. All right, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can live with that. Okay.
We both had the Giants being sort of Fugazi, Pat, you and I both. I said before the year I thought their season would be done by Halloween. They're 1-3, and if you watched last night, they're horrendous. Their next 2 games, they're at the Dolphins and at the Bills. Giants are going to be 1-5, and their season will be done by Halloween. They'll be finished.
I hate to see it.
Yeah, I hate to see it. But the last 2 of your last 3 games are against the Giants. That's great. That's a great advantage.
I was watching the Manning cast last night, and
was it good?
Eli had the Eli face that he often had against the Eagles watching his former team last night. I watched it up. Man. They had Will Ferrell was one of the guests when I was watching. He's funny. He was good. I do like the Manning cast.
I think it was interesting.
I think it's good.
I couldn't watch an Eagles game on the Manning cast.
No.
But I can watch a game that Giants Seahawks and go, wow, by the way, could the Seahawks be a team
Geno Smith's a lot better than anybody thought he was going to be last year, and now looking at it this year, he's in charge. He makes definitive decisions. He can run he can throw when he's running. They have some things they still have. They're always going to be a decent defense.
They missed the boat, but the Giants and the Jets both missed the boat on him.
Well, he wasn't good back then.
I don't think he was good last night.
Or last night wasn't a good game for him.
Yeah, he's been better than I thought he would be. But
did he not get coached up though, Pat? Like with those other teams, did they miss the opportunity?
Look, he's working with Adam Gase and who was the Giants coach before Dable.
Oh gosh, mustache guy.
No, I don't think. It was after him. Whoever it was wasn't good.
Yeah, I mean, they're not good.
Pat Shurmur?
No, Shurmur was before mustache.
Yeah, I don't know, but whoever it was, it wasn't very good. But to your point about getting coached up, yeah, they're absolutely.
Like, I mean, the other night, did you watch the Sunday night game much or not enough? I get tired of the Taylor Swift crap. I was just like, please, would you just shut up?
I did not watch it solely because of that.
Well,
Judge, by the way. Joe Judge was.
It was Judge. It was Judge. Yeah, local judge. It was the idea of like they're like, wow, now Zach Wilson's looking like an NFL quarterback tonight. Zach Wilson's really showing up. Man,
he played well on Saturday. I thought he played well on Sunday night.
And I'm like, okay, what if Zach Wilson goes out and plays like 5 or 6 really good games? There were people willing to just dump him, trade him, say he can't win. People are too quick to react to the rookies, to let him have the time. To get themselves well. Hey, the 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by the Bagster. It's a dumpster in a bag. You can get yours today at Home Depot and Lowe's. For details, go to Bagster.com. David Ben Salem is an usher.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you? Happy Red October Tuesday.
Davey, we love you, baby. Are you ready to go tonight or what?
I'm ready. This is my second year working for the Phillies, and I got postseason 2 years in a row, and I can't wait. But you guys know, and I know you think the same way I do. You got to get this game tonight. You have to get game one with Zach Wheeler. It's very important to get this first one.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, you really, you can't. If you're down one game tomorrow, it's going to be a scary proposition for this team.
Very tough. Yes, very tough. They got to keep the crowd's going to be there. You know that, John. They're going to be there. And if you can get an early lead, that'll even keep the crowd in the game more. The bottom line, and this is what worries me a little bit. I mean, I'm kind of looking back from 2011 when the Cardinals got in the playoffs and they were the hot team. The Marlins are playing very good baseball, but the Phillies still match up well against them. And, you got to get that lead. You got to keep that crowd in the game. Because even if it does go to a game 3, he's going to pitch Suarez. And if Suarez gets in trouble, he's got Sanchez in there to fill in for him. But the key is to get this game tonight. You got to get game 1.
So, Dave, as an usher at the game, what is your day plan? Like, what time do you get there? What all do you have to do?
Oh, I always get there early, Bob. I mean, our gates are going to open, obviously, 2.5 hours early tonight because of the playoffs. So we have to be on post by 5:20. I get there right when we get in the park, a little after 4 o'clock, just to enjoy the atmosphere.
Nice.
Get settled in, get ready. And I want to experience this again, Bob. Like, I had the best experience I ever had in my life last year when I was there. And I'm hoping just get through this series, and we'll see what happens against the Braves.
Now, do you know your section?
I don't know till today. It's going to be a surprise.
Oh, okay. Because I'm wondering, do you always move around, or do you tend to?
Yes, we do. Every 10 games, we move to different sections so we can work with other supervisors, and that way we know the stadium. Obviously, I know the stadium. I've been going to games there since the stadium opened, but. All our supervisors are great. They're a great organization. They've made me happier than any I could ever be in my lifetime. And I just wanted to have this run again. This run was amazing last year. I think Zach's going to keep us in the game. But if we can get that early lead, that will be major. If we can get Luzardo rattled, and get some runners on base, we can't strain runners. That's the whole key to this series. You can't. You got to get these runners in when they're on base.
How do you have so much passion for the Phillies? And I know you're a maniac with the Eagles.
I'm a maniac with every sport. I'm a 4-4, man. You know that. I've been a sports fan all my life, John. I've been following the Phillies since 1971 when my father took me my first game at the vet.
That's amazing.
To be here at Citizens Bank Park, it's a dream come true for me. I appreciate it every day, man. And I love you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
I know the crowd's going to be in there. Let's go, Phils.
Dave, I'm going to hit you up for a job once I'm done this gig, all right?
There you go, Dave.
Great, brother. You guys have a great day. I love
all right, Dave. Be good, buddy.
Now, Bob, you can't be an usher.
Why not?
Pat. There's no way Bob could be an usher.
I agree.
I know
with
you. I know you, don't I? Like the first person to go. I know you, don't I? Oh, wait a minute. Your sister's brother and I went to Camden Catholic together, and then other people are sneaking by.
100% agree.
Moving past. It'd be like, wait a minute. We went to grade school together, and then these people were sneaking in. I think Bob would be too much. It would be you're too social and you're too nice.
You couldn't be a beer vendor.
You have to be mean to be an usher.
No, you have to be more. Well, you have to scrutinize who's getting in your section. Bob would be like, wait a minute. I know you. You live in Marlton.
Yeah, I think you would do this, Bob.
You're friends with Rock.
There he is.
Yeah. There he is.
Absolutely.
It'd be like Cheers.
I think we'd be all right.
No way.
I like it.
I think we'd be all right.
Where'd you go to high school?
Do you think the Phillies would
let? You think I'm better suited to be a starter on the golf course?
No.
Why?
I don't think. I think you're suited to do what you're doing.
Bob as a starter on the golf course would be fantastic. He'd be the most popular starter in town.
Bob
disagree.
would be great.
See, I think Bob would be great as a starter
because Bob would start. He would be a starter in conversations. That's the thing. He wouldn't keep the pace of play moving.
He would pace of play, Bob.
Is Zach Wheeler going to be great as a starter tonight? That's the bigger question.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you this as we start the 9 o'clock hour. Do you trust the Phillies starters more than the relievers? I don't know where I sit, honestly, except on the fence. I was thinking about this yesterday. I do think if one group, starters or relievers, was going to flip a switch and all of a sudden get hot, it's the relievers. And that might not be a bad answer with this year's offense. And considering in the postseason, bullpens are mission critical to you winning a World Series. And last year we saw it. And last year we saw great starting pitching out of Houston. But I really believe that's I think I believe more in this relievers, that the relievers could get hot and the relievers could get it turned on, than I believe the starters are going to just all of a sudden be something that we haven't expected.
I don't know about hot. I would say the relievers right now to me are a very intriguing story. That being because look what Rob Thompson did down the stretch. He had Alvarado and Kimbrel, whether you liked it or not. He was switching them back and forth between eighth inning guy and closer. Now in the bullpen, you're going to have to rely on Hoffman, a guy that you didn't even know about before the season started, but has pitched very well. Maybe, just maybe, Sir Anthony has turned the corner over the last couple of outings in that he's found himself, and if that becomes a real weapon, that's big. You also now have Sanchez in the bullpen. You have Lorenzen in the bullpen. Like, these are all interesting types of things. So I think it's the bigger story. Whether they're going to be hotter than the starters, they're going to have to be A. Whether they will, I would have to, if I was a betting man, I would have to put my money on them probably, yeah.
Where do you go, Pat? If one group's going to take off and all of a sudden we're going to be like, okay, that's what we've been waiting for all year long. Do you think it's like Wheeler and Nola and maybe one other starter, or is it relievers?
No, I think it's more likely to be Wheeler and Nola.
Okay.
I don't think it's likely at all either way. Like, I think the relievers are what they are. I think the starters are what they are. But I think it's more likely that Wheeler and Nola end up, finding a little bit more energy and oomph just because they're veterans. But the fact that Rob Thompson uses his bullpen the way he does, where guys don't necessarily know what spot they'll be in, I think that's why I can't go the bullpen. It'd be one thing if Kimbrel knew he was pitching the ninth and guys had assigned roles. You got Alvarado coming in the eighth and, let's say Hoffman in the sixth or whatever. They don't. It's matchups and whatever Thompson's feeling that night. So because you've got the vets out there who know when they're pitching and what's expected of them, I'll go with them. But I don't think it's likely at all.
Do you think things change? And I'll ask both you guys. Sorry, John.
Sorry.
Do you think things change a little bit? Like, all right, we know Hoffman, we know Alvarado, Sir Anthony, Kimbrel. But do you think a situation might come up, and I'm not just saying early in the game, where, oh, my God, he's throwing in Lorenzen for an inning? Or, oh, man, he's going lefty-lefty with Sanchez? Do you think he might toy with those extra options that he has now at his disposal?
I do, because, Bob, nothing he does ever, to me, stands the test of just reasoning. He's had some really good decision-making at times. Last year he went on a real run of it. But nothing would surprise me as far as what he would try to do. I think Rob Thompson would go out of the box and make strange decisions that we're not expecting at any time. And it's been managerial gold at times, and sometimes it leaves him up to big scrutiny. So I do think there's be some things that would potentially shock us in this postseason.
I wonder, Pat, what do you think about that? Do you think he'll toy with the bullpen a little bit in a
I do.
different way? Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you add in a Michael Lorenzen, throw in Kurkjian, if he decides to use him at all, yeah, I think he'll mix and match, and it won't necessarily be just a Soto, Alvarado, Kimbrel situation. I'm interested to see how he uses it this series upcoming, because are you going to go with your big guys there, or are you more likely, let's say hypothetically they're up 8-2 and it's the seventh inning, I'm not throwing Alvarado out there. I'm not throwing Kimbrel out there.
No.
See, I want Lorenzen going.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Chewing innings.
Or Sanchez, like one of the two. But do you throw Sanchez in there who hasn't pitched out the bullpen in a while? But I think, yes, to answer your question, I do think he does it. I think it's just it's risky.
I saw Al Leiter from what's Al with? Is he with MLB or ESPN?
He's with MLB.
Yeah, MLB. Al Leiter talking about the fact that one thing that he didn't dig about the Phils was the fact that Rob Thompson worries very much about comfort for position players, but doesn't worry about comfort for relievers. And just that you get that he is a big believer that guys got to know their role. And Rob Thompson believes in the Swiss Army knife philosophy. And Al Leiter goes, the vast majority of relievers would never say that that's a good strategy. If you talk to guys that he's known in baseball forever that were relievers, they would never consider that a good strategy. They think guys knowing that I'm the eighth guy, I'm the seventh guy, I'm the ninth inning guy, that's a better way to go about your business.
Yeah. We've heard that from relievers. Ricky's brought it up an awful lot. Like, you got to know your role. Here's the thing. Kimbrel's a ninth inning guy and all that. And we know that. And he's better in the ninth. And he was good early on in the year. And he struggled lately. And some of it may be because he's thrown him in the eighth inning and all that. But Kimbrel's also a part of that, too. Is there trust there that if you have just a one-run lead, to put Kimbrel in,
because who
allows a guy to go from first to third without even looking at him? He gets in there, one-run lead, walks or gives up a base hit to the first guy. That guy's on third. That guy's on third before there's an out because Kimbrel doesn't give a crap. And he thinks he's better than any team that has a guy on third and nobody out. He's going to get them out anyway. Does that come into play with Rob Thompson's managing? I don't know.
It probably should, in a way. But I can't believe that Rob Thompson has tossed aside the math with Craig Kimbrel. I'll never understand it. I'll never agree with it, and I never would have done it myself.
Yeah, it annoys me.
He's got a Hall of Fame career with over 400 saves. And it is logic. When your numbers show you, again, his ERA is double when he's not closing in a ninth inning situation or a 10th inning situation when he's closing with a lead. I don't get it. I don't get where Rob Thompson goes, yeah, it doesn't matter. Guy's got 400-some saves, Hall of Famer. Doesn't matter. I'm going to do something different. I think that's reckless. Or maybe he's more courageous than I am, and I'm more by-the-book conservative as far as that is, Bob. Maybe I'm afraid. I would be afraid to make that move. I would absolutely be afraid to do what Rob Thompson's done with his bullpen.
I don't think it's you being one way. Being too far one way. Like, we know that relief pitchers like assigned roles.
Yes.
And Craig Kimbrel is a creature of habit who really likes to close out games. He is different when you bring him in any other inning except the ninth inning.
And you've got years of history to show this.
Yeah, and that includes bringing him in, let's see if we can get a 4-out save. It doesn't matter. If he's not getting 3 outs and the inning is 9, he is a different pitcher. And it's not for the better. I'm not a fan of it. Hopefully, we don't have to worry about it. And he's pitching the ninth inning tonight, close it out, and then he pitches the ninth inning tomorrow. And then we go on and we beat Atlanta. And then we're beating whoever.
And then we have a parade. And
then a couple of weeks we have a parade.
That sounds good.
People are taking their pants off.
That sounds good. I know, but the pants off.
No, pants are coming off, Bob. Bob's pants off. Bob's pants aren't going to be here.
I'm just looking. Kimbrel, last ninth inning blown save. Like, he's had some rough outings, and I don't know if it's tied hand in hand with Thompson putting him in the eighth inning or having that little doubt in the eighth inning. It's just weird. He was going so well. And
then you messed with it.
Well, he blew a save against, this is all the way back, August 30th, blew a save against San Francisco. And then after that, he had some shakiness. You gave up a run. You gave up 2 walks and here and there, a home run, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Like, it got weird. And then he started throwing the eighth inning stuff in. And he just hasn't been all that right lately.
He hasn't been, but I do wonder if he hasn't been right. It's a chicken and egg thing, and we don't have the answer to it.
Exactly. I was trying to find an answer, but I didn't. You're certainly right, Pat.
We don't have the answer because we're not there. Rob Thompson and Caleb Cotham have a better answer than we do, but it is interesting of, like, is it he's pitching poorly because you're not pitching him where he's used to pitching, or is it he's pitching poorly and you're trying to get him right? I'm looking now in save situations this season. He's got a .78 ERA. In non-save situations, he's got a 3.97.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Now, last 2 outings didn't matter that he was in. He pitched an inning in both of them and has 5 strikeouts and is clean everywhere else. So maybe he's found himself again. And again, I do worry about that on-base thing where he just nonchalantly lets a guy go from first to third.
Well, that tends to be the 10th when he's pitched, and I hate it, by the way.
Well, and I can't believe it with the balk on purpose. And
look, the numbers back up why you hate it. So 7th inning, he's got 2.2 innings pitched this season, 6.75 ERA. Not a big sample size, but still not good. 8th inning, 13.1 innings pitched, 3.38 ERA. 9th inning, 47 innings pitched, 2.85 ERA. And then in the extra innings, if he has to go extra, 4.76.
Yeah.
The biggest sample size there is the 9th inning. It's 47 innings pitched. But you're seeing that is by far his best inning. And everywhere else, he's a little bit worse.
This is what drives me crazy with analytics, guys. It just drives me crazy. We've created this new statistic where we take this times by their birth date, divided by the times they've been to the plate, and then something as basic as a Hall of Fame closer pitches the ninth.
Well, did you see
becomes this? Oh no! Well, we're going to switch it around because we don't believe in that.
Did you see his exto clump statistics?
No, I haven't seen that. No.
Is
that real? Exto clump? I didn't realize.
Absolutely, it's real. His exto clump numbers are terrible in the ninth inning. You got to look at the exto clump.
Pat wants to know when we return what you need to see tonight in the first 4 innings. It's a very small sample size, but we'll get to it next. John Kincade Show here on 97.5, The Fanatic. A lot of homeowners say Red October's arrived. And
Welcome to the party.
yes, Tommy. Yes. And pretend that you're going to get through the next few hours productive at work. I don't know that people are going to be able to do it today. Everybody's thinking about tonight at 8 o'clock and feeling it and feeling the energy of the city. I mean, it's fantastic. The atmosphere is fantastic. Everybody who's getting to go down to the game tonight, we're expecting you to bring the energy for all of us, for those of us that are at home and those of us, that wish we were there with you, because it's going to be awesome tonight. It should be an amazing, amazing atmosphere down at the stadium tonight.
Yeah, it'll be nuts. Part of me is like, can they outdo last year? Can the fans be even louder than last year? And then I start jiggling my head saying, are you questioning Philly fans? Like
they could.
It's going to be nuts. I can't wait. I can't wait to see the atmosphere. And one of my favorite things, I can't wait for the national guys to talk about it like, oh, my God, because they have no idea what they're in for.
I do think one of the reasons why they're at the 8 o'clock game this season is because of last season.
Yes.
And I'm not talking the success of the team, but that was a big talking point throughout baseball was the crowd at CBP. And I think they want to kind of capture that because that is what baseball wants for postseason baseball. You know, they don't want a lukewarm crowd at Tropicana Field or a lukewarm crowd at Target Field. They want like the raucous atmosphere that Citizens Bank Park brings.
Did you see so they had the ticket prices?
I did, yeah.
$7 in Minnesota. $7 to get in the building. My God. That's the lowest price to get in the building. Philly?
Yeah, but parking's expensive.
Okay, well, don't do Jamie on us.
I'm kidding.
$199 to get in the door at Citizens Bank Park. I mean, and Philly blows away all the other cities as far as the ticket sales and everything. This secondary market is crazy. Absolutely nuts for this. Even standing room only. You're paying $199 minimum to get in for standing room only. By the way, that's up to $219 this morning.
Oh, man.
Pat, $219 to stand. I'm not doing that.
They're going to go down.
You could. Okay, so you're giving.
Yeah, there's
you
too
can
many.
Give good advice here.
Yes, there's way too many tickets right now on the marketplace.
Okay.
That they will. If you're looking for 2 tickets right now, there's 355 listings. Ticket prices will go down. They're probably not going to get lower than 120, but they'll go down pretty substantially, especially towards game time.
Do they go down for tonight only or for tomorrow also? What do you like? What do you suggest to someone who wants to go down either night? Like, what's the is there a different strategy for tonight than tomorrow?
So for tomorrow, the cheapest 2 tickets you're getting at $185 because people are expecting a clinch. But there's 472 tickets available. They will fly off of the apps if they jump out to a big lead, and especially when the game's final. Because if there's a chance to clinch a series, it's going to go way up.
You're saying don't wait?
So I would, if you're looking to go, I would purchase them now if you're confident that they're going to win tonight. If not, just wait because, as I said, tonight's game, like if you go down there and if you're tailgating with buddies or something like that, around 7:45, you're going to be able to get 2 tickets. I would assume pretty cheaply. There's too many tickets on the marketplace right now.
Calling all Temple alum. Don't miss the Temple football homecoming game. The Owls battle University of Texas San Antonio this Saturday at 2 p.m. at Lincoln Financial Field. They're not a bad team, by the way.
They're not terrible.
All kids in 8th grade and younger can score a touchdown on the field after the game as part of the parent-child touchdown toss day. For tickets, visit owlstix.com. So Pat wants to know, what do you need to see tonight in just 4 innings?
This is Pat's point of view. Here's Pat.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I chose 4 innings because 3 innings is once to the lineup. 4 innings is usually where Nola would hit his trouble, even though Wheeler's pitching tonight. So I just felt like 4 innings was a good one. I think if I ask you guys, like, what do you see tonight? It's like we're all answering the same thing. I need to see them, hit the baseball and crowd goes nuts and good pitching performance and all that. But in the first 4 innings, is there something specific that you need to see? Because for me, if this doesn't happen, and I'll give mine after yours, I'm going to be a little nervous.
Zach,
so, for what is it for you?
Zach Wheeler under 50 pitches. Something like that. Something like that number. In the neighborhood of 50 through 4 innings, that Zach Wheeler isn't turning into Aaron Nola the Nibbler, and he just goes after people tonight and strikes out a lot of Marlins.
Bobby?
Dinger. I need to see at least a dinger through 4, maybe even 2. But, yeah, I want to see a long ball. Definitely runs on the board. I don't know if that's where you're going. They can't be shut out through 4 or whatever it is. I need to see a dinger. I need to see a ball get off the bat right away and get those fans off their asses.
Mine is, you just touched on it. I can't have a 0-0 game going into the 5th inning.
I didn't want to say I know what you're going to say, but I had a feeling I knew what you were going to say.
Isn't it sort of a good sign if it's 0-0? Because you're worried about starting pitching.
It's a good sign in one way, but in another way, like I'm looking at this Phillies team like your bats need to carry you throughout the postseason. If your bats go silent at home, and I think that will take the crowd out of it a little bit.
Okay.
I can't have that happen. I don't want to be sitting there in the fourth or 5th inning going like, all right, like can we get a hit? Can we drive some guys in? What's going on here? I can't have it happen. So I need to see early runs in the first 3 innings where, it doesn't have to be a ton, but like just to make the Marlins uncomfortable and put their backs against the wall.
I'll be honest. I'd rather have a 2-2, 3-3 game in the 4th than a 0-0 game.
You would, really?
I think so. I think the Phillies are going to out-hit the Marlins eventually.
I might lean on your side there.
Really? Because we talked about this earlier this year. Remember? We were saying that, man, when the Phillies are in like a 1-0 game in the 5th or 6th inning, I just don't feel as comfortable as I do if it was like a 2-2, 3-3 game. That hasn't changed for me.
No, you've said that all season long.
Yeah. I would love to see Wheeler pitch great, and I'd like for it to be a 3-0 game. But no, I need to see a dinger before the 4th, Pat.
Yeah, I mean,
chicks dig the long ball.
You won a lot, Bobby.
At home, they call me Big Al, and I hit dingers.
Yeah,
one of my favorite things ever.
We need a Big Al type performance tonight.
What's he doing, by the way?
Big Al?
He's hitting dingers somewhere.
He's a roofer.
Is he like how old was that? How long ago was that? 6 years?
Probably 3 years ago.
Oh, 3 years.
That's it. I thought it was longer.
We were doing the show when it happened.
He went to a happy hour with Bob and Rock and
absolutely
them and all them.
Yeah.
And I thought
he probably hit a homer off for Rock at some point.
He's one of the guys doing construction that stands there with the slow down or yield sign and stop sign. He flips it. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I think 0-0. My anxiety level will be pretty high. 3-3. I have the confidence that they can outslug the Marlins. But if their bats are silent in the first 4 innings, I'm going to be like, crap, is this one of those games? And I don't have the faith in the pitchers to get you through one of those games and shut down the Marlins. So that's what I need to see. But hopefully we see all of everything we said.
We have some good ones there. The my wife asked me the other day, Mo.
You all right there, Bobby?
We come up there at the end of the game, and my wife says, "Why do you guys enjoy this?" Bitching and complaining at the end of the Eagles game and called us there. She goes, "Why do you find this so enjoyable?" Because it was we're all stressed out watching the game. Like, oh, geez.
I ask myself that question a lot.
They get stressed out.
Why am I here?
I was laughing because somebody on our YouTube page said that Big Al is now a gynecologist.
Oh, jeez. He went to accelerated med school then.
I got to look what year that was. I was thinking it was like
I think it's longer
7,
than that.
8 years ago or something.
Longer, Big Al.
I think at worst it's 2019.
2019.
Were we on the show?
I think we were doing the show when it happened. I think it was 2021, but I think we were doing the show.
Big Al hits dingers.
August 2018.
2018.
Okay,
so that's good.
Yeah.
Big Al.
And he's so funny. So he would have graduated high school then.
Oh, dude, Big Al's just the best looking kid in the world, man.
Now he'd either be a rising senior. He's either in his senior year or he graduated high school last year.
I mean, I could look him up if you want.
Yeah, find Big Al.
I remember his name is Albert D'Elia. For whatever reason, I remember his full name.
Let's get him on as a playoff analyst.
Big Al D'Elia.
But guess what, Pat?
Man.
If you could get him on as a playoff analyst, we'll take him. Hey, the question, though, Pat was looking for earlier was, how far did the Phillies go? The playoffs are about to begin. The postseason. Baseball very clear about that. The postseason is about to begin, but how far do they go? And that's a good discussion point as far as before any of these games begin. If I said to you right now, over under number 4.5 postseason wins. You going under or you going over? They win 4.5 postseason games. It's a 5-game series, the next one.
What'd you say the number was?
4.5.
Yeah, I'll go over.
Okay, so you haven't beaten the Braves. Patty, you brought up the subject of how far do they go. If I set it at 4.5 wins in the postseason, Bob bets over. If you bet over, you're beating the Braves. That's why.
How are you beating the Braves?
Because it's a 5-game series. You only have to win 3.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
Math was really not your strong
No,
suit.
it wasn't. I mean, there's also the issue of like...
You're an idiot and you don't know baseball.
Yeah, that's my big issue here. I will go under.
So you'd go under. Right now, I think I'd have to go under also. I would just have to gut instinct go under. But, Bob, I like your optimism. I like it.
It's the first day of the playoffs. Of course you have optimism.
No, I mean, there is optimism. No, there's optimism. Okay.
How many more wins does it take?
Do they take 3 or 2 games to beat the Marlins?
2.
Pat?
2.
3. And it's going to make us all just squirm. That would be crazy. Absolutely crazy if that came about. But it's just it's exciting. This whole town is going to go nuts tonight. It would be the night if you were planning the bank robbery, tonight's the night. Because this city's going to be completely distracted. Absolutely distracted.
Why, in God's name, would you say something like that?
Well, if a bank robbery's going to go down, you would want to do it when everybody's distracted.
No, everybody stay home and watch the Phillies. Therefore, there is no violence or bank robberies or anything like that.
Bank robbery. So
yeah.
I got a reason for optimism. Bohm, Stott, and Marsh had no postseason experience last year. So now 3 guys that you're major counting on are going to be part of it. More experienced. They got to remember the pressure of 2022. They've all been better defensively except for Marsh. And now that Marsh is in left field, I think that'll still work out. I think that's a big thing, too, is the experience factor. I'm not worried about Stott and Bohm and Marsh in the postseason because I've seen them for a full season, and then I've seen them get better. I saw them last year in the postseason rise up at different occasions.
Yeah, and you can throw Alvarado and Sirianni in that, too. Whether they're pitching well or not right now, I think Alvarado's fine, Sirianni hopefully. But, they've been there. They've done that. They know what it's all about. And even other guys, if you got to bring guys off the bench to do something, having seen it, having been there, it is huge. That is such a big advantage over an opponent that hasn't been. We can say, oh, it's another baseball game. It's not.
No, it's not.
Like, I've been to playoff games. We've all been to playoff games, whether we're working or as a fan. You just know it's different. Look, I've worked many, many, many of them, and I'm working, so that shouldn't be any different. It is. It just is. And you feel it with the players. You feel it with the man. I've seen coaches, managers totally do a 360 or 180 of who they were during the regular season compared to who they were during the postseason. And it's weird.
You hate that or do you like that? Like,
It depends if they turn good or they turn bad,
But when you see that, I always wonder why you don't do dance. I would absolutely be a manager or a coach that danced with who brung me. I would not be one of these trying to reinvent the wheel guys. I would be dance with who brung me. And that's what I'd be counting on.
But he's been different on it all year. Like we were talking about earlier or whatever. He's changed this lineup all year long.
He has. But
Castellanos, who a lot of us said, oh, that's your MVP for the season. He put him down to the 8th slot 2 weeks ago.
See, I got no problem with a manager moving stuff around in a lineup. I do have a problem with a guy making decisions to say, like, take someone out of the lineup or put somebody in, outthink things. Like, Pat, if I get a Jake Cave game, I swear, I'll yell as loud as you will almost.
It's my big fear, is we get a Jake Cave game at some point.
And that's another reason I don't want Pache in there is because Marsh was there last year. Marsh knows. All right, here we go. Pache's never been there. Pache's a young kid, like Pat said. Yeah, okay, he's had some advantages against left-handed hitters compared to Marsh. I'd rather have the experience than the 40 at-bats or whatever that he had against lefties.
Well, if he puts Pache in tonight, and the numbers say to put Pache in, does he then have to put him in the next night? And do you have Marsh sitting for a couple games?
I know, yeah. I won't. I don't. No, I wouldn't.
Where do you go on that, Pat? Do you want? I mean, I'd be worried about Marsh. I don't want Marsh to get like. I want Marsh to be part of this run.
I don't disagree with you. The numbers do skew Pache, but I think if you put Pache in there, at worst you're getting 0 for 4 and Gold Glove defense.
Correct.
Now at best, you're getting 4 for 4, okay, and Gold Glove defense, but. Is Brandon Marsh and his bat so much more advanced that warrants it? Now, he was a Gold Glove finalist in left field, so it might be a moot point. But I'd have no problem with putting Pache in there and having Marsh come off the bench for it if you need him. But, look, this is game 1. Well, I wouldn't have a problem with it. My preferred route would be, Brandon Marsh.
Yeah,
I'm
off. Starting Marsh.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. For game 1, I'm not getting cute with it.
I mean, you could throw Marsh out there and he looks horrible and goes 0 for 4, and then you can make a legit argument, even if they win the game, whatever, to say, all right, we're going to put Pache out there because he's better against left-handers, and then you do it in game 2. I think it would bring goodness to the team that you say, no, he was here last year, more part of the team than a Pache is, who hasn't been around all that year. I'm going with Marsh. Sometimes just doing what's expected or what maybe your team wants you to do. I'm not saying that the team has anything against Pache or anything like that, but if push comes to shove, I mean, you're going to say that Marsh is probably more a part of the team than Pache.
See, and that's what I wonder does that come into it because he has been, Pat, center stage as far as the cheerleading, the chemistry, the energy, and if you sit him,
he's definitely a spark plug guy. He's Garrett Stubbs-esque when it comes to that. He's an energy guy, and you do need those guys in the postseason for sure. Pache, not only has he not been on the team the full year, but he's also been away from the team quite a bit just because he's been injured. So
and he was injured twice.
Yeah, you do make a really good point with that. I don't know if it sends necessarily a negative message.
Not negative, but
like,
you know
what you mean. Yeah. Marsh is a glue guy, but he's also a pretty decent baseball player. He's not bad. So, look, I'm not gonna be cursing no matter who's in there. I would want Marsh. If they end up putting Pache because of the numbers, I'm just gonna go, all right, hope it works out. If Jake Cave were in there, I'm ready to riot.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So don't worry about that.
He's
a left-handed
I can't help it.
So
Bob just said not allowed to riot. Bob said.
I can't help how I feel, Bob.
He's not letting you riot.
Out of fear.
No bank robberies and no.
I'm not going to curse if Pache's in there because my family's going to be around me watching the game. But I probably will. Boop. I might throw my hat off across the room.
Oh, no.
No, don't throw your hat.
No, that might be a little.
Well, you have to have the remote, by the way. You remember the last fall?
Yeah, we don't need it yet. We don't need good luck charms yet with this one.
Wait a minute. Last fall, that was a staple.
That was in the World Series, yeah.
The remote.
The remote. I put my hat over the remote. But if Pache's in there, it might be one of those, you put your finger in your mouth like bent up and you kind of bite it like,
yeah,
oh, geez.
Yeah.
One of those, yeah.
I'm just going to go, all right, hope it works. I'm just going to kind of shrug my shoulders at it.
Now, Alex Green just sent me something. Pache is 2 for 4 off Luzardo. I think he'll start tonight.
You know what? When we came in
today,
starting
to talk ourselves into this.
Yeah, when we came in today, I was like, "There's no way," and now I'm sitting here like, the numbers, not only against lefties but against this guy, kind of dictates that it's a Pache night.
It has to, and that's
Pache night.
Coach Vinny Gallo gets the credit for that. But he really tipped us off to it.
Also, and I have to remind myself, like I keep harping on Jake Cave, but no matter who,
I don't think you're wrong.
No matter, and like that's a fear for another game. But no matter who it is, if it's March, if it's Pache. It's the bottom of the lineup. Like
true, and you're getting good defense either way. You're very right on that.
We're good. If we have one hole in our lineup, it's probably going to be, where they're hitting. It's going to be 8-9. So I'm not going to lament it no matter what because your other 8 guys should be good enough to overcome.
I love that.
The 9th guy. We're not going to be coming in here tomorrow. I doubt it.
You got a good point. You do.
Why did you save this for 9:43 for God's sake?
I'm bringing it now.
I mean, seriously.
Okay, I doubt we're going to come in tomorrow.
Haven't you heard bring your best stuff early? I mean, come on.
This is early for me.
Are you closing? You're doing Kimbrel right now.
I'm right now.
You're
all right,
Craig
Coach
Kimbrell.
brought me in.
That's a great point.
I don't think we're going to be coming in tomorrow going, man, they lost the game because
Pache went
Pache or Marsh were batting ninth.
Okay,
now they might make an error or something, God forbid, but we're not going to be going, man, that was the reason why. If only they had the other guy in the lineup, they would have won.
All right, let's think back a little bit. Last year, they lost the games they lost. They lost the game in Atlanta, the second game. There was a critical bad play by Rhys Hoskins in the field that cost them, that really ended up making that game. They blew any chance to have that game. They lost. That's the only game they lost. So they went 2 series with only 1 loss. And against the Padres, I guess it was Aaron Nola gave up the lead, if I remember in that game.
Sounds familiar.
I think he gave up that lead and got hit around a little bit. So you don't really have out of the box villains in the postseason. It's going to be your best guys perform or your best guys don't. We're gonna be talking tomorrow about did Schwarber, Harper, and all these guys turn around the numbers that they've got against Luzardo, because Luzardo has owned them, dominated them. Did they turn those numbers around?
Best thing that can happen tonight, like a small thing, not in general. Best thing that can happen tonight.
Harper goes off. Harper has a double and a homer, and they win the game.
Oh, best thing. We get a good start from Zach Wheeler. He shuts him down, goes 7.
I go leadoff home run by Schwarber.
You would.
Oh, that would be wild. Pat, we were in the building for
that. Could you imagine the place for the rest of the night?
Yeah, we were in
Game
the building.
5.
Yeah.
World Series.
Yeah.
After the no-hitter.
Loudest I've probably ever heard it.
And when he hit that leadoff home run, that building I felt the sound through my body. It was so loud. And tonight, hopefully, that would be amazing. Can you imagine that?
That would be
amazing. You get something like that the whole building would just be it would be berserk.
I would have my here we go moment after the first batter. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the place would get on fire. I think it would be like the Marlins all of a sudden back on their heels. Oh my God! Listen to this place.
Text me, Bob, when you have that moment tonight.
Okay.
Would you send me a text?
Sure.
Because I'd like to see it. Pat, I'm anxious to see when that moment comes for Bob. And if it's good, and if it's early,
if it's
early, yeah.
If it's early, that's going to be a great night. It's going to be a beautiful night for all of us. If it ends up being early on in the night, that's going to be wild. I would love that so much. And look, everybody's looking forward to it. It's going to be an absolutely amazing time. I do want to hit on this a little bit though before the end of the show. Jimmy Kempski had a great piece, if you haven't seen it, in Philly Voice, about the Eagles' trade deadline potential of what they're going to do, who they're going to target. Will they try to get something for to maybe improve the secondary or something like that? Does 4-0, you as a general manager, would it make you more willing to roll the dice, more willing to mortgage the future? Are you all in on 2023? Is this a year where you're pushing chips to the center of the table? Because I usually prefer a cautious approach, but I hope Howie is gambling. I hope Howie is absolutely rolling the dice, gambling, doing whatever it takes to improve this roster. Because I trust that he can clean up whatever though if it gets a little financial mess or something like that, I know he can clear it up. I want Howie on the aggression, Bob. I want him totally aggressive as we get towards this trade deadline.
To me, record wouldn't matter all that much because you know where this team is supposed to be. So it's not like, oh, I'm going all in because we're 8-1. I'm going all in. It doesn't matter. The Eagles are supposed to be the best team in the NFC, so you're going in because you need that. The question is, what position are we talking about now? Chase Claypool all of a sudden is having
I don't
bad
want him.
vibes and stuff like that, and there's talks that the Eagles might want him as a backup wide receiver. Are you talking about what? Going out and getting a safety, a veteran safety, a linebacker, a this, a that? I don't know.
I need a safety. Pat, I need a safety, and I need one like this week. I'm tired of seeing it.
Here's the thing. I think that and we talked about it earlier, I think they can get to week 7 undefeated at 6-0. They should. They're playing weaker opponents, and every week that goes by, the price goes down a little bit. Now, I never.
So you do believe that?
And I've never looked at mortgaging the future. If you're trading a 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick, I've never looked at that at mortgage in the future.
Okay.
Howie Roseman has done a really, really, really good job of making deals the deadline where if they don't pan out Jannard Avery, it's not crippling to your franchise. He's never made the, quote, big splash, but he's made nice moves. Jay Ajayi was probably the best move he made at the deadline. If he goes out there, and this team does have holes, and I want a slot cornerback that you can put in there and throw Bradbury to the outside, I don't think you're giving up much in week 7, which is when you'd probably be making the deal because clock's ticking downward. But even if they lose in week 7, you're 6-1. Life's not horrible.
No.
So I think every week that goes by, price goes down, and that's why I think he's going to wait on it. But I do think a move is going to happen. We know that Howie Roseman loves making deals. He's made the most trades out of any GM in football, and I don't think this will be any different. I think he will, quote, go all in, but he won't be mortgaging a future for a second, third round pick.
How come, Pat, when they say, and Bob, when they say you follow what the good teams do, in other sports, it's a copycat league. They always talk about a copycat league. How come nobody has copycatted Howie Roseman? Like, he trades more than anybody else. Nobody else seems to be picking up on that formula. He manipulates the cap. When you look at the numbers side by side of Daniel Jones' contract and Jalen Hurts' contract, it's like somebody went to Wharton and somebody went to Penco Tech to learn how to do contracts. You want to fix an engine, you go to Penco Tech. You want to write a contract, you go to Wharton. I don't understand how nobody has picked this.
I would love to have been able to play basketball like Michael Jordan, but I couldn't run as fast or jump as high or, be as much as I would love to have emulated it. I wasn't good enough.
So you think
maybe there's GMs around the league that just aren't good enough at what Howie does and can't figure it out the way he does. I don't know. It's a great question, John. I don't know. But I would lean towards that they're just not as good as him.
We have Red October tonight. So I have Connor on his birthday has a 2-hour special leading up to first pitch starting tonight at 6 o'clock on The Fanatic. Now, Tunis is out of P.J. Wellahan's, and Bob, you're going to be going to join him.
Yep.
The gang from The Best Show Ever is going to stop on by. I bet you Connor rolls on over there, too. It's going to be a great day getting you ready. Now, Tunis is going to be bouncing off a wall today, all day.
Yeah.
I don't know how he makes it through 4 hours.
I think Connor's getting a little lazy. He used to be in here with us, 4:45 every morning. Texted him about an hour ago, happy birthday. I've heard nothing.
I called him yesterday and just surprised that he's not up. I mean, he's very chipper. We'll see. Hey, tonight's going to be a great night. That means tomorrow morning you join us at 6 a.m. and we start celebrating, or we start picking apart every decision that was made by the manager. Being a manager or a coach in this town is not an easy job. Hey, remember, we got First Friday coming up on Friday. You want to be a member of our studio audience, you hear about the guest list coming up. You go to 975thefanatic.com. Breakfast from Red Robin. How about that? Coming on Friday. That's
Robin.
My kind of breakfast. Bottomless fries, Pat. Your name's all over them.
I'm very excited about this, and I will be there on Friday.
Bottomless does not mean you don't wear pants either, by the way. That was clarified to me.
What?
The bottomless fries means you can have as many as you want. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, David Auto Group, and make a donation to the American Association for Cancer Research today. Please do it at 975thefanatic.com/AACR because cancer research saves lives. Enjoy Red October's beginning tonight. Let's hope it's a very, very long ride. Stick with the Fanatic all day long and on the app. Have a great day, everybody. Open up that BetParks Casino and Sportsbook app and step on in and take advantage of all the things they've got going for them. Great casino games right at your fingertips. You can bet on all the Red October games for the Phils, or you can bet on the other games that start this afternoon at 1 o'clock. They're preempting General Hospital today. Pisses me off. But you know what? On the BetParks app, at least I can bet it. I can play blackjack, roulette. If I'm in the doctor's office, I can play slots like 88 Fortunes, Wheel of Fortune, or Cleopatra's Gold. You're going to absolutely love it. New users, bet up. You can download the BetParks app, get up to $1,000 in casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Play for fun. You love to win. You bet. So why don't you bet BetParks? New users only, and the casino bonus must be wagered. Terms and conditions